This is the limitless Keith Lee.
This is Brody King.
This is Angel Garza.
Will Ospreay.
Hornswoggle.
Pentagon Junior.
The villain, Marty Scurll.
The Mexican Rey Fenix.
King Ricochet.
Concrete Rose Sunny Kiss.
And I'm here to ask you to stop what you're doing, take just one moment, and bask in the glory of the Busted Wide Open.
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 Boston Wide Open.
Busted wide open podcast.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome everybody to BWO Live, coming to you from across the BWO universe of Twitch, YouTube, and even Facebook. This is episode number 321 of Busted Wide Open. My name is Nick Howell.
And currently living out of a trash bag full of clothes, so I don't see what the big deal is. I am Sir Ian Dangerous. And yes, as you may have noticed, I am back up at the Danger Parents' house. That's why we're in this lovely bedroom here instead of the normal Danger Palace.
The Danger
so
Basement.
I do apologize. The Danger Basement that happens to be on the second story. But yes, exactly, Mr. Howell. Welcome everyone to the show.
Those damn heads are back.
Yes, they are.
Jesus Christ.
And I made sure to make sure they were looking right at you just to make sure that you knew they were there. Welcome to the show, everybody. It is Busted Wide Open. We're here to talk about Smackdown. Friday Night Smackdown just went off the air. We need to discuss everything that went down there, including would Roman Reigns accept Cesaro's challenge for the Universal Championship? We also are here to talk about NXT and AEW Dynamite for this week as well. So a lot of stuff to get into, Nick. Let's not hem and haw. Let's not talk. Let's get right into it, and let's do the show.
All dilly-dallying aside, linktree.com/BWO is where you want to go. It's the one-stop shop to find all the social medias, all the pertinence, all the things you need to know about where to find Busted Wide Open. Make sure you head over there, like, share, subscribe, do all the things that you guys know how to do. Big shout-out to all of our patrons. Thank you guys so much for all of your patronage every single month. It is the best way to support the show, along with the bits and subs here on Twitch. Thank you guys for that. And YouTube, we see you. And it's coming soon for you guys, too. YouTube has opened up some features. So coming soon, trademark, there will be the ability to subscribe and get loyalty badges and all kinds of stuff over there, just like you can on Twitch. So if you prefer watching on YouTube instead of Twitch, congratulations. That will be coming soon, because thank you, YouTube, for finally adding those features. So we'll be bringing them to you guys very, very soon, plus some special stuff over on YouTube as well. So stay tuned, because we are about, 1 month, right at just shy of 1 month away from our big, massive, huge 4-year anniversary episode. And guys, it's going to be a party. It's going to be on a Friday night. You are not going to want to miss it. May 21st. We're going to be doing all kinds of new debuts, all kinds of good stuff, new merch, new graphics, new look, new everything. Get ready. Hashtag teaser.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that, man.
Don't show everybody everything yet.
It was a teaser. It's going to be the Thursday and Friday, actually. It's going to be so big we couldn't do it in one whole day. We do it in 2. It's going to be nuts.
Isn't there also something we need to announce about? Let's re-announce when we're going to be on Going in Raw to celebrate our WrestleMania victory. What is that date? Do we have that?
You caught me off guard.
Is it like next Thursday, I think it is?
I think you're right. I think it is next Thursday. I'm actually 95% sure. Let me just double check myself here, because I put it down. Thanks, Nick. Way to surprise me. It is indeed the 29th. The 29th in the afternoon or so. So
West Coast time, somewhere around there. We'll be sure and post so you guys can join the Going in Raw show, as yours truly will be guest hosting on an episode of Going in Raw. Ooh, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. We'll be on a guest episode, be getting interviewed, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it'll be a good
Very
time.
cool. Thank you to those guys for having us on. Looking forward to it.
Indeed. But guys, that's it for the business. Let's head over and kick things off by talking about Friday Night Smackdown.
Well, Cesaro is still going for that Universal Championship. He tried to beat Jey Uso last week, but Seth Rollins, of course, got involved. Cesaro came out at the top of the show to say something. We'll never know what it was because Seth Rollins interrupted him and said, hey, yeah, I totally took you out last week because I'm not done with you yet. It's not done till I say it's done. I'm trying to elevate you, but you got lucky at WrestleMania because of the whole rain delay, threw me off. But yeah, I'm Seth Rollins. I still want to kick Cesaro's ass. Out comes Jey Uso to say, hey, Cesaro, you don't get Roman Reigns. You're still stuck with me because you never beat me last week. Before Cesaro could say anything, out comes Daniel Bryan to hop in the ring and say, okay, I see you guys are about to take out Cesaro. You're doing the little pincer move where you go around the ring and you're working together on it. Well, I'm here to back up Cesaro. And as Jay and Seth kind of back away, Daniel goes, you know what? I know how this works. You're going to call your big boy Roman Reigns out here, and he's going to try to attack us all. And sure enough, out comes Roman Reigns to say, you're not worth my time. You're both losers. Daniel Bryan, you're a stupid loser who was on the bottom of the pile at WrestleMania when I did exactly what I said I was going to do and crushed, stacked, and pinned you and Edge. And Cesaro, you're a casino loser. You're just bad luck. Ouch. And then he just left.
Well, shit.
He just left.
I mean, he's not wrong.
It's the second week in a row. He's just absolutely just destroyed Cesaro on the mic and then just boned out. Last week he didn't even destroy on the mic. He just looked at him and was like, you're not worth my time, and left. And then we just got a match between Daniel Bryan, Cesaro, and then and Seth and Jay as a tag match, which was a 3-segment match. And it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was amazing. What was it for? I don't know. But you know what? It was great.
What we found out after, I guess that wasn't really based on any kind of stipulation of what we ended up getting at the end of the show. But
it was more like at the end of this match, we end up getting Jey Uso. Seth runs away. Seth's like, I don't need this. I don't need this anymore.
I'm Seth freaking Rollins. I don't need this.
Yeah, he takes off. So Jay gets 2-on-1. He gets beaten down. Cesaro swings him like 800 times while Daniel Bryan sits on the ring post and goes, hey, Roman! Hey, Roman! Where are you at? You going to come help your cousin? No, I didn't think so. You coward? Just making fun of him. Cesaro then picks him back up, swings him some more. Really fun little moment. Daniel Bryan saying, I guess Roman's just too cowardly to come out and face us. Goes backstage, goes up to Adam Pearce and says, Adam, Cesaro did everything that he's supposed to be doing. Make the match, Cesaro versus Roman. And he said, I'll do my best. Meanwhile, Paul Heyman's in the back saying, tell you what, one thing I will guarantee, here's a spoiler. You will get Roman Reigns' answer by the end of the night. You will hear from your tribal chief what he's going to do. So at the end of the night, out come Daniel Bryan and Cesaro to say, all right, come on, Roman, what you got to say? Roman comes out. Comes down to the ring, gets in Cesaro's face, says, you're not worth my time. You're a loser. I'm not doing anything with you. You don't deserve it. You're not on my level. And then he turns to Daniel Bryan. He says, but you, I just don't like you. In fact, I can't stand looking at you. So guess what? Next week, you get the match. And if you lose, I never want to see you on SmackDown on my show ever again. I want you to leave town. I don't ever want to see your face in my city again. You understand me? Okay?
So are we doing career match stipulation for Daniel Bryan, or is this just a sneaky way to get him up to Raw?
From what we could discern from what the announcers were saying after this, Pat McAfee, by the way, was fantastic tonight.
5-star.
Second week,
Loved it.
and he is just crushing it.
You're right
just
there,
crushing
Cole.
it. Yeah. So what they were saying is that it's just SmackDown. Daniel Bryan has to leave SmackDown. His SmackDown career is over. Their words. So it sounds like it is just SmackDown. That if Daniel Bryan loses, which off the bat, I'm going to assume he is going to, because otherwise why make the stipulation? Right. If he doesn't,
Roman's
then
not dropping that title.
he's not
He
dropping
beat
the
Edge
title.
and Daniel
but
Bryan at WrestleMania. My prophecy's coming true.
you know,
He's going to hold that
but if
thing for the next 2 years. They've been waiting for
if
this
there's no
for 5,
pinfall.
7 years.
I'm saying there's no pinfall finish. They fudged the finish.
Sure.
There's no real finish. Right, and Daniel Bryan doesn't lose. He doesn't have to leave, but doesn't get the title. That kind of
Okay.
thing, right? Like Daniel Bryan gets DQ'd or something. He doesn't lose, but he doesn't, have to leave. So there's a way out of that. But the weird thing was, it feels like with all of this, and this is just speculation on my part, you have all of these guys. You have Seth, you have Jay, you have Roman, you have Daniel Bryan, who seem to be in some sort of backstage conspiracy to get Cesaro over because he's been so respected for so long. There's that feeling like he's underappreciated. They say it in their promos. Paul Heyman even will begrudgingly say it after, a week after he calls him a Neanderthal. So there's this feeling like they're trying to get Cesaro over. And whether or not everyone's on the same page or if it's just Daniel Bryan pushing the hardest for it, who knows? But the bottom line is that it does really feel like there's a push to get Cesaro over. That being said, the big issue with Cesaro always has been when he's in the ring, he's fantastic, right? He is one of the most talented guys there, one of the strongest guys there, all these superlatives we could throw at him. He gets on the mic to call out Roman Reigns, and I can see why Vince was hesitant, because it was like someone dropped a wet sweat sock in the middle of the ring. Hey, Roman, I'm here. Where are you? Daniel, do you see him? I don't see him. Come on out. Yeah, the energy was gone, right? Roman Reigns, he speaks quietly, but there's so much energy in his words. Daniel Bryan is a great, energetic promo guy. Cesaro doesn't have energy in his promos. It's not like he's saying anything wrong. It's not like he's not, it's not like a language or accent thing. There's just no energy. There's no fire. And even when people get up in his face, he looks, gruff, but he doesn't look like he's a coiled spring ready to strike or anything like that. So it did kind of expose some of the reasons why they may be hesitant to have pushed Cesaro in the past.
When we opened the show with him, I was sitting there going, uh-oh.
Are they going to let him cut a promo?
And then Seth came out and interrupted him. I went, oh, okay. So I'm looking at this in a weird way. Like, is this... When we've had language barrier problems in the past with Shinsuke or even Asuka, they let her start yelling in Japanese, or Io letting her do backstage interviews or yelling in Japanese. Like, Cesaro doesn't even have that problem.
But at least Asuka has a crap ton of energy.
She's all energy.
She's all energy. It doesn't matter what she's saying. You're sitting there going, I'm hyped. Yeah. And that's the thing. It wouldn't really matter what Cesaro was saying if he was really hyped up. Not Mojo Rawley levels of hype, because then you get released. But, relative levels of hype. Like Daniel Bryan. And that's the thing, putting him around Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins, who are two of the best promo cutters in WWE, it kind of shows off, like, if you let Cesaro speak at all, it shows Cesaro is not a great promo.
Yeah.
And it's his big weakness. It's his big flaw. And unfortunately, that's what seemed to be apparent here. And I've got no problem with them, trying to elevate Cesaro to that scene. Maybe they're experimenting. They're trying to prove to Vince that he can do it. If so, I don't know if this is 100% working, because, they're putting themselves around him. And as a result, he only looks dynamic when he's in the ring and wrestling, which is, he looks fantastic, of course. So, yeah, it's a bit of a quandary of a situation. I don't know if they're going to go all the way and pull the trigger on Cesaro here, because he does look so unexciting relative to these other guys. I don't know what Seth's involvement with this is now, because he walked out on Jey Uso and Jey said, it's fine. We're dealing with Cesaro right now, but I wonder if that's going to come back and affect Seth. If Seth and Cesaro have more of a feud to go, if he's got to prove himself against Seth a few more times, get Seth off his back before going for Roman. If he loses his buddy and Daniel Bryan is no longer there and he's all alone. So it's an interesting situation that they're doing here with Cesaro, where I'm truly curious if it's an experiment or if they know where they're going.
Yeah. Kyle threw in 100 bits, said, Seth saying, I'm not done until I say we're done should give everyone nightmares after last year.
Well, he proved it last year, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. It just kept going. This is the fight that never ends.
It just goes on and on, my friend.
He threw in another 100 bits at fourth wall. Daniel Bryan taking the piss out of everything that just gives me life watching WWE programming. Side note, I felt we spent the entire night building up one match only to be given another match just because. To me, the SmackDown banishment angle should have had Bryan give his opportunities to Cesaro with the banished stip. You can do real good long-term storytelling with a Cesaro loss there and continue building him in defeat. I don't know. I think getting rid of Daniel Bryan out of the way lets Cesaro focus a little bit.
But I see what he's saying. If Cesaro loses, Daniel Bryan is banished.
Oh, got it. So put the responsibility on Cesaro.
On Cesaro, but then if Cesaro loses, then everyone's going to be mad at Cesaro for Daniel Bryan leaving. It's a good idea, but unfortunately, if Cesaro does lose, then you get the potential of having people get mad at him, like fans get mad at him for making Daniel Bryan leave. So that is, we'll see. It was nice to have Cesaro at least do the whole no, Daniel Bryan, you deserve this. You should take this opportunity and not give the weird why did you take my opportunity,
right,
angle to it. So it did make him seem like a good dude. But yeah, it's a bit odd, but at least, and this is something that I'm glad to finally say about Raw or SmackDown, at least it's intriguing.
Yeah.
This is an angle that's intriguing. I'm curious where they're going with it. I love everyone involved in it, and they're all talented as hell. So no matter what, we'll have some entertaining TV out of it. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
That is ultimately a good thing. Also a good thing, the Intercontinental title picture. Because initially we were thinking it was Apollo and Big E, and Apollo even cut a promo about how he didn't want to defend it against Big E. And Adam Pearce said, you don't have to, because tonight you have another opponent, and Big E will get his title shot rematch eventually, but it might be against this other guy. If you lose tonight, Apollo, this other guy, of course, being Kevin Owens.
I feel like that was one of the ones we called last week, or we suggested would be a good opponent for Apollo.
It would be a good follow-up, and we were right because this match kicked seven sorts of ass.
It did.
And it even so, they were able to bring Sami Zayn down to the commentary booth, and he was able to do a bunch of fun commentary. And oh my God, fire Michael Cole and just have him and Pat McAfee be both color commentators.
Yes.
Just for all night long.
I don't need to hear moves called out. I just let those two go.
Oh, it was great. It was hilarious. And the match, like I said, kicked ass, hard hitting, great moves, very exciting, nice build to it. But you knew what the ending was going to be before it even started because we hadn't really seen Commander Aziz or Captain Aziz,
General Aziz,
General Aziz, or whatever, or Aziz and his grandfather Achu. This is my grandfather. A sneeze. We hadn't really seen him do anything yet, so you knew he was going to get involved. Sure enough, he gets up on the ring apron right as Kevin Owens looks like he's got Apollo beat. Kevin Owens gets distracted. Apollo gets the roll up, even very quickly after a pop-up powerbomb, I must say. But he's still whatever. He rolled up Kevin Owens, gets the win. Aziz comes in and beats down Kevin Owens, gives him the Nigerian nail, which is it's a big punch.
Yeah, it's basically a right hook, basically.
He learned it on Raw Underground.
Then Kevin Owens gets back up, gives Apollo a beautiful stunner that Apollo sells, jumps up in the air and flops around, and it sells it beautifully. That was my biggest thing there. Was fantastic. What was I going to say? Oh, Sami Zayn and Pat McAfee kind of had a stepbrothers moment where they felt like they had just became best friends.
Yes. I was living for that moment.
It was so good.
It was beautiful.
I don't even remember much of the match. I was so honed in on the commentary between those two. And that might be the unintended consequence of pairing those two together, is that you're so intrigued by all the commentary that you're not even really, you're just laughing so hard at those two. You're not paying attention to the match. It was like when Triple H came in to open up the pandemic area and he was, messing around with Michael Cole so much you weren't even really paying attention with what was going on in the ring. So it's kind of a double-edged sword to have.
Go back and watch the match. It was beautiful. You got some top rope spots. You got a ton of suplexes.
I'm being facetious, but the idea of just those two is it the unintended consequence of having someone like Pat McAfee who's just all personality, all charisma? He felt like he was calling face and heel commentary at some points through the night.
But if you think about it, so was Graves. It's they kind of go back and forth on who they're face for and who they're heel on. You know what I mean? It's not constant anymore. But that's fine as long as they're constantly entertaining, which McAfee is. Also, Sami Zayn's dance now has become a meme because he got into the ring over the fallen Kevin Owens as Apollo and Aziz triumphantly, stumbled up the ramp. And he started to dance again. Because apparently Sami Zayn dancing is now a thing, both to the audience and to backstage. Because we cut to backstage after he's done dancing for about 5 minutes, and Kayla Braxton's still cracking up about it. He was just dancing all around Kevin Owens' corpse. So apparently the Sami Zayn-Kevin Owens feud is still going. But this brings me to my big question. Before he came out, Kevin Owens was confronted by Big E, who was like, yeah, you're stepping up in the line again, you habitual line stepper. And Kevin Owens was like, we got a problem there, Big E? And Big E's like, yeah, you're getting the match I should have. And Kevin Owens goes, well, that's tough. I'm going to take this match, and then afterwards, it's going to be a good time. If you want the match, we'll talk about it. Calling back, of course, which I love to, when Kevin Owens took Big E's place in the New Day briefly before, of course, turning on the New Day because it's Kevin Owens. Right. But what I loved about this was the fact that they subtly acknowledged that. Yay, history! And not treating us like idiots, like we haven't seen Babatunde and Dabba-Kato on Raw Underground. Now he's Commander Aziz. That was great. And then it also, later we see Apollo come out of his dressing room to crow to the new announcer girl who's fresh from NFL, whose name I'm
Megan
spacing
Mo
right now.
Hart.
Megan Mo.
Megmo.
Megma? Smegma?
Oh, no, she wasn't that bad.
No, she's fine. She was good. I kid. She was fine. I'm looking forward to seeing how she grows and evolves. But she was interviewing Apollo, and he got jumped by Big E and beaten down. Aziz comes out, and he looked very unhappy about it. But so Big E's still in the picture. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn look like they still have issues, but could this lead to... Sami Zayn still says, oh, yeah, Apollo's got my Intercontinental Championship on. Could this be 4 guys in the Intercontinental title picture? And if so, how lucky are we? Because these 4 guys in the Intercontinental title picture, yes, please put it in my eye holes.
Definitely. I'll watch a Sami Zayn Kevin Owens feud any day of the week. Somebody even posted one of the old throwback ones between of him and in Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
El Generico and Kevin Steen. They've been fighting for like 15 years. And it's just keep going. Just they're magic. Put them together. I don't care what it's about. I don't care what the stipulation is. I don't care what title it's for, if any.
And Big E and Apollo are they've been great too. I love the intensity that's there. You throw all these guys in the same picture and magic.
Yep.
And it's also a great way to create more depth within the title picture because you have more moving parts. Kind of like what's going on in the tag scene on SmackDown, except there's actually a story here. They're trying in the tag division. We'll get to that in a second. They are trying. We first have to talk about, of course, the women's tag division.
No.
I'm sorry, Nick.
No.
I'm sorry.
I was on such a high.
Well, I'm bringing you back down to earth, but at least Reginald's back. Reginald's back.
Yay.
Be happy. Nia Jax versus Tamina. Well, Nia Jax versus Tamina was also on this show. You may have seen that right before WrestleMania. Well, they decided to do it again with a very similar result. Once again, Reginald gets involved. This time, he and Shayna have a little collision. She's mad at him outside. Nia Jax is wondering why they're beefing. She ends up getting rolled up by Tamina. 1, 2, 3. Tamina has pinned Nia Jax. And your tag champions once again are beaten in one-on-one matches because of distractions. At least it was Nia this time. And Natalya and Tamina, who could not win at WrestleMania, have won again.
Back-to-back weeks, singles matches over the tag champions.
Yeah,
they should have taken the tag belts at WrestleMania. They should have taken
the belt, but they're going to do it now at Backlash, it looks like.
Cool.
Which, I wonder how many of these matches we're going to see at Backlash where we go, you should have done that at WrestleMania. Because this is the third one I can think of just immediately off the top of my head where I go, you should have done this at WrestleMania if you were going to do it, or hold out for longer and don't just try to hotshot it again after this is all done. Because there was an organic moment at WrestleMania where the audience got behind Tamina. Tamina has been looking like a badass. Her and Nia have genuine chemistry, and Nia makes her look great. And now they're trying to force it. Now you've got Michael Cole saying, the audience at WrestleMania loved Tamina. You can see how great she is. Now they're trying to push it down our throats. It's not organic anymore.
Right.
And it's too bad.
Yep.
So do you still feel that some of that magic is there? Like Tamina still has that kind of like exciting thing against Nia Jax, or is it dead for you?
I mean, how do I say this without sounding like a mean asshole?
When's it ever stopped you before?
Fair. I have mad respect for Natalya and Tamina. I think they should have done that. If they were going to give them a tribute strap, a thank you strap, should have done it at Mania.
Yeah.
There's no excuse. I mean,
they won night one.
Yeah.
They have the momentum. Do it. The audience was behind them night two. The audience didn't want to be behind them, but they were in them by the end of the match. If you'd done it, they'd have gotten a big pop and people would have been happy.
Tamina looks great in the, Heart Foundation gear, whatever we want to call that thing she's wearing now. And
yeah, people wanted to feel better after that first god-awful match on night two.
Yeah.
Match finish. They wanted to feel good. They wanted to have a feel-good moment. And nope. So we're going to get this. So, yeah, we'll see. We might also get some other rematches. The Dirty Dogs are still being challenged by the Street Profits. Dirty Dogs being interviewed backstage. Street Profits coming up saying, we are up and we want the smoke. The usual thing. Yeah. Bayley shows up and they all kind of go, okay, you're really uncool. And they leave. Bayley then starts talking smack about Bianca Belair. And Montez comes back in with Bianca Belair on speakerphone saying, do you want to say that to her?
This girl's got your name in your mouth, your name in her mouth. You might want to be, I'll be right there.
I'll be right there. We come back and Bianca is right there with Bayley going, so say that again. And Bayley goes, actually, I have all kinds of respect for you. I think you're wonderful. I really enjoyed your match at WrestleMania. The way that you carried Sasha up those stairs was incredible. You're really awesome. And I'm looking forward to having a match with you at Backlash. I'm very honored to be in a match with you and you're fantastic. Okay, bye. And starts backing away, and Bianca turns back to Kayla and goes, well, I did not expect that.
None of us did.
At which point Bayley comes back in and goes, bah! And laughs at her and then walks away again. Very odd segment, but at least we have confirmed that Bayley will be facing Bianca at Backlash. All right. It's like I said, Nick, it seems like a logical move. You have her build up Bianca for WrestleMania before she has the Sasha feud, and then now afterwards you have her kind of establish her championship by beating Bayley, a former champion. But the problem here is you've got people openly disrespecting Bayley in the sense that now people, when she's around, they're like, she's really annoying. I don't want to be around her. When Montez had Bianca on speakerphone, he said, I'm here with Bayley. And she goes, who? And he goes, Bayley. She goes, who? So unfortunately, that's something where, if you present someone as not getting any respect, we're not going to respect them. Yeah. And if you have Bianca beat her, why should we respect Bianca for beating someone we don't have any respect for?
On top of her doing this crazy comedy gimmick thing of the ding dong stuff, it doesn't help either. When Bayley turned heel, we found respect for her because she just went out and won. And she was dominant, and she looked like a badass, and she acted like a badass, and she talked like a badass. Everything she's doing right now is just silly and dumb. And even this promo and the coming back in and it all feels silly. You're right. There's no respect for her given. It means nothing if Bianca beats her, basically.
And that's really the issue, is that it diminishes Bianca's win if she beats Bayley at this point. You've got to put some respect back in Bayley's name, at least when she was the champ. Even if she was a craven champ who cheated to win, she was still a winner who could get things done. And she was dangerous. People worried about her. Right? Now, she's not a threat. Why should we be impressed if Bianca beats her? Yeah. So it's a bit of questionable booking there. We also mentioned that the tag division has things going on, but just not. I mean, once again, we have the Mysterios versus Alpha Academy. Again, for the billionth time. The Mysterios have now been on a roll ever since WrestleMania. Once again, they get the win over them. Very nice match again. Like, it was, all the wrestling on the show tonight was fantastic. Yeah. And the wrestling in this match was great too. It was just a rehash. It was here we go again with the Mysterios and Alpha Academy.
Are you scared that that's exactly what we're going to get for the next 3 weeks, and then once again at SmackDown or SmackDown Backlash?
I don't know, because the fact that they're pushing, there's never been a father-son tag team champions in WWE history. The fact that they're pushing that so hard makes me think that at some point they're going to strap them. I'm not sure why they would be pushing that so hard if they didn't.
They should have, and then send them down a program with Alpha Academy. It's right, and keep the story rolling.
That would have been the logical thing. and just have Dirty Dogs and Street Profits work out their ish on the side. They don't need the championships for that.
Yep.
But that's not what we got. The Dirty Dogs are still the champions, and the Mysterios are still feuding with Alpha Academy. At what point they won tonight, straight up. At what point they move on to the tag championships and get a match for that, they haven't really defined yet.
Yeah.
So we might have to see even more of this until we get that. And it's just it's diminishing returns, sadly.
Yeah.
So
Kyle threw in 100 bits, said the best thing about Pat is that even though he is heel, he is constantly putting everyone over for how talented they are. It's been a long time since we've seen someone outside JBL know the line of being heel while also putting over the talent in the ring. Pat's probably the best since Heyman or Taz, honestly.
I'll say Heyman. I won't go there with Taz.
Yeah.
But in terms of that psychology of even if I'm disrespecting these guys, I'm here to get them over. I'm not here to just burn guys.
Right.
So yeah. But finally on SmackDown, Nick, I'm gonna take a moment.
We've been waiting.
Something
for this.
happened. Something happened that
has not happened for an age.
Brought back a lot of my faith. I was having a dark few months about this. We have not seen Aleister Black on TV in a long time, not since before his wife, Thea Trinidad, was fired by WWE, or mutually released. We were wondering if he was on the shelf. He had asked if he could go back down to NXT. They had said no. They didn't really have any plans for him once he had like an eye patch and was feuding with Murphy, and it was just ever since Paul Heyman left as creative, they just didn't really know what to do with Aleister.
Yeah.
And we were worried about him. Well, recently on Instagram, he's been putting out some videos. Looked like he had a new character going. We talked about it briefly before on the show. Looked like he had kind of like a Fire Cry, Jonah Seed thing, like Waco, Texas. David Koresh thing going. And this week we got our first look at his actual lore. On Instagram, he posted Chapter 0. Tonight we got Chapter 1. And they're doing a very cool kind of animation. It's him sitting in a dark room full of candles with his glasses on, being very sinister. And he tells a story. He reads from a book, the Book of the Dark Father. It's cool.
Tales of the Dark Father.
Tales of that. That's it. Tales of the Dark Father. And then it cuts to, as he reads, it cuts to like an animated thing, and it's very cool animation. It's there's
a name for it. Blizzard's been doing that for the last couple of expansions leading up to it. They'll do these sort of prologue kind of it's almost like still frame, but it's animated. I don't know what there's a name for that style of animation. I just don't know what it is.
It's backlit paper puppetry.
Okay.
And it's a little bit more elegant than that. Like a more rudimentary version of the Deathly Hallows animation from Harry Potter, right? Yeah. Very cool looking. And in this one, he basically hints that when he was very, very young as a kid, he watched them drag away his mother for who knows what reason. And like he was in like some sort of religious cult. And he was taught from a very young age not to fight the dragon, but to be the dragon, et cetera, et cetera. A bunch of like very kind of Bray Wyatt mysterious, spooky ooky stuff. But at the same time, also more, I would actually say more cool backstory, sinister stuff than we've ever seen for Aleister Black. Also, it's letting him really kind of throw his misanthropy out there, where he's saying stuff like, I'm here to, everyone out there is diseased. They're like rotting fruit, and they have to be culled to allow ripe seeds to grow, or something like that. It was phenomenal. This made me so much less worried than what we thought was happening with Aleister Black. I think this is the kind of angle that he could really pull off, given everything else that he already had in place. So having, creepy religious cult leader Aleister Black so far is looking pretty good. Again, Nick, we've seen what they've done with Bray before. Will it be any different with creepy cult leader Aleister Black?
To be determined. I'm skeptically optimistic, though.
I have to be.
It's like he's reading like black metal lyrics. I feel like he's telling some stories of like Norse lore and witch lore kind of stuff. Like I don't know what the hell's going on, but I love it. I'm in. Feed me more. I absolutely want to see this. I absolutely want to see how far they can take this. But They've proven, like you said, time and time again, that they don't know really how to deal with this stuff. And it takes a mind like Bray Wyatt's to do it, but then you get someone that just kind of steps in and has their way and throws a kink in everything.
Vince comes in and says, I think you should lose this match, pal.
Yeah, put Goldberg over the Fiend.
We got to have Goldberg built for WrestleMania, pal. It's just what we got to do.
Yeah,
Sorry.
You're going to put Goldberg
It's good
over.
shit. We're going to put it over Goldberg. I can't understand Vince anymore. And when he's interviewed I tried to watch the Stone Cold documentary, and Vince is just back in the day, Stone Cold, Dorothy was the stunner, steak wrap, Stephanie McMahon, and I'm just like, what? It's gotten really bad.
Jesus.
So,
let me catch up here
get
a
a man
little
a
bit.
lozenge.
Calthrin 100 bit said, when Shayna stepped up to Reggie, I went full Ross. Yes, kill.
Kill.
I said it in chat. I love those guys at Cultaholic, man. Ross is a mood. Ross is absolutely just him going, Cal.
Yeah.
I love it. Side note, while this fit into the formula with Reggie, I liked this match. Very physical and a semi-clean finish compared to the other Reggie finishes that make everyone look bad. Yeah.
I think it's more that made Nia look bad, so none of us care.
I didn't like it any more than I hated the other ones. It was kind of just there.
That's the problem. It's the same exact thing as the other ones. It's not making your champs look good. It's not making Tamina look any better because she can only win via distraction.
Oh, look,
it's
distraction finish again.
Yeah.
Imagine
Not
that.
great.
Surprise.
Not great.
Calderon, another 100 bits said, between this and Xian Xia, I'm really excited that WWE is experimenting with animation to inform characters. I hope we get more of this with debuting and returning characters when appropriate.
Also, this just broke yesterday. WWE has actually officially announced they will be having an anime series on Crunchyroll.
Wow. Fantastic.
So, yeah, whatever that means, we have no idea what that's going to be yet. But as you can probably imagine, already you've got Xavier Woods and Ricochet and Dio Madden all just being like, what? We want to be a part of this.
Yeah, right.
Let us in. Yeah, so.
Jay Wolf threw in 100 bits, said the black vignettes are great if they don't mean squat. They don't mean squat if that 72-year-old gets a hold of it.
I mean,
he's 74 now, I think.
Here's the problem is that he's the reason they exist in the first place. It's not Vince. Vince will let cool things happen. It's just a matter of how he develops cool things. And for a guy who says he's all about story, who is in a lot of ways more interested in story than in wrestling, and that's a broad statement, but just so take it with a grain of salt. But he seems to be more interested in story. He says he's more interested in story. He has a hard time understanding how stories need to progress.
Yeah.
And he will oftentimes sacrifice story to get plot beats down the road that he hasn't earned because he just wants to get there and doesn't understand how to build towards them. And that's the bigger issue. He knows when something, quote, looks cool. That's how we got Kane ripping the door off the cage of the first Hell in a Cell. That was cool as hell.
Yeah, it was.
And that was Vince. So, and the other creative guys too, but still, this is from the mind of Aleister Black. And Vince saw it and went, yep, that's cool. The problem is down the road is if Vince goes, hey, this cool thing we've been working on, Aleister, I'm going to have to make you take a loss here because this other guy needs to get over and feud with someone else down the road. He will sacrifice it. He'll sacrifice the legitimacy of it for something that he feels is bigger.
The old cut off your nose to spite your face kind of thing.
Well, but that's the thing is he doesn't see it that way. He sees it as taking like a small loss on this one thing to make something very bigger later on. And sometimes he's right.
Yeah.
Is Goldberg going to be a bigger, more money drawing match? Maybe. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe Goldberg and Braun is a bigger match at WrestleMania when he's thinking about the bottom line and people watching WrestleMania. So he's, in some ways I understand it, but unfortunately there's times like the Fiend match at WrestleMania where there's just no good reason for the Fiend to get pinned by Randy Orton.
I think I understand why they flipped it. They expected it to be Roman going over Goldberg, if I remember right. Wasn't it going to be Roman Goldberg and Roman left? So it was supposed to be Roman, the way to get the belt on Roman.
Exactly. As opposed to having Roman go up against the Fiend, which we were against as well. Right. So Yeah, no, it was a whole problem there. That was a whole issue. But
Thanks, pandemic.
For many things.
Thank
but
you,
again,
Jay. Thank you, Kyle, for all the bits. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so it's like at WrestleMania. Like he'll do things like that where there's no reason to screw up these good gimmicks. Yeah. But for right now, it's a good gimmick. Keep your fingers crossed.
Yes. Well, there we go, guys. There was Smackdown. It was refreshing to have a Smackdown that wasn't an absolute chore to get through. I have to say, for the first time in weeks, if not months, I was actually very entertained for 2 hours by Smackdown. It's been
some nice segments,
long
some great
time
wrestling.
since I've been able to say that about Raw or Smackdown, and it was nice to be able to say that finally.
It was watchable. I feel like we're going some good places. Isn't it amazing what happens when you let talented people do 3 segments of wrestling in a row?
Yep, absolutely. And you know what else was very entertaining this week?
What's that?
NXT.
Well, NXT this week was all about cool Kyle O'Reilly. He came out looking chipper and feeling chipper. Nick, he's no longer in the Undisputed Era, so he's not wearing Undisputed Era colors. He's coming out in, I want to say he's dressing himself because I don't think they should be employing anybody who would dress a human being this way.
He looks like that senior in high school that I always kind of wanted to be like. That probably drove a 1981 Firebird.
Yeah, he looks like the kind of guy who thinks a Pontiac is still cool.
Right. He's out in the parking lot smoking cigarettes, and instead of going to class, and all the girls are fawning over him in his jean jacket with his patches of all the metal bands and stuff.
You thought he looked way cooler than I did. I thought he looked like what would happen if Caddyshack was made in Canada.
That was the hat,
He looked like if Don Knotts had been a jock.
Right. Yeah, it's a good point.
It was if the Breakfast Club were a whole mood, it'd be Kyle O'Reilly. Coming out,
Judd Nelson. He had the Judd Nelson vibe going on.
The Judd Nelson thing going on. He's like half-heated TV dinner Orange Cassidy.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, man. I didn't see it being cool. I actually thought he was so uncool. He made Steve Buscemi with a skateboard look like Cool Hand Luke Paul Newman with a bazooka and a skinny tie.
Hey.
It was not. It didn't work for me.
I loved it.
They're trying to make him cool. All right. Well, beg to differ. Yeah. Difference of opinion.
Strokes.
Fine. You dug how he looked. It was the look, and then he gets the microphone. And Kyle can be a good promo. In fact, I thought he cut a great promo later on, but this one was a little weak, and part of it was his voice. I'm gonna be the workhorse of the show. I'm Kyle O'Reilly, and I'm no longer with Undisputed Era. I'm now out here in my cool denim jacket, and gosh, guys, I'm just gonna do my best and kick people in the face. I was able to beat that meanie Adam Cole. Yeah. Oh, it's good to be me. Oh, I don't know. It didn't work for me, but it did work for me when Cameron Grimes came out.
There you go.
And
I very quickly
Kyle
forgot about that quick 2 minutes beforehand.
I was sitting there cringing, and then Cameron Grimes came out, and Kyle shifted into not giving an F mode, where he just started making fun of Cameron Grimes, saying, "Hey man, I'm gonna help make you a lot of money. Let's do some merch together." And Kyle O'Reilly was just like, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea. That's a totally good idea. There's someone I'm supposed to have a match with though, and I just don't see him around anywhere." "Oh yeah," puts his glasses on. "It's you," punches him in the face, lays him out. Cameron Grimes has a conniption. It's great. Kyle O'Reilly's back to form. This was definitely a tale of two Kyles.
Yeah.
For me, a Kyle that I can get behind, and a Kyle that I was just sitting there going, "Oh, you poor little baby." Yeah.
Jay Wolf threw it 100 bits, said, when did Kyle rob Orange Cassidy's wardrobe?
Man, he didn't just rob Orange Cassidy's wardrobe. He drove off with the entire wardrobe truck.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Orange Cassidy can pull it off. Kyle, not so much.
I want to see Kyle in killer ring gear. Like all of his Brazilian jiu-jitsu ring gear. He's just crazy moves and stuff.
Isn't it ironic that something stops being cool when you start calling it cool?
Yeah.
Like Kyle O'Reilly is a cool dude. I love his air guitar on the tag team titles. I love the fact that he sells like an absolute monster. His main event that he ended up having this night with Cameron Grimes was a sick match. It was sick. The dude is an absolute beast in there. When he's fired up, he can be genuinely scary. And then he can come out at the top of the show looking like Meg Ryan if she were a guy, and it just blows the whole thing out the window.
Okay. I thought he looked like a badass, but maybe that's just me.
Okay.
I got something for dudes in denim, I guess.
Apparently. But and maybe I don't. I don't know. Orange Cassidy works for me though.
Yeah.
But it didn't work for me with Kyle. But the bottom line is that it's still Kyle O'Freakin Riley. Yeah. And he's now a full baby face. You know, he looks like one of those guys you can just get behind and root for. He's goody two shoes like Surfer Sting.
Pull on them white meat cheeks.
Oh, it's so white. Such white meat. Oh, he's just got those little cheekies.
Peel the chicken breast meat off of his
little
cheeks.
Buddy man. Yeah, you just want to go up to him and just, you little cutie. Oh, little cutie Kyle.
Speaking of Kyle threw in 100 bits, said, cool Kyle seemed like exactly what it was, a guy who's not used to cutting a promo without a target and just talk about himself, and him not knowing how to talk about himself. As someone who despises writing cover letters, I get it. Thankfully, they gave him Grimes to have someone to play off of. Kyle needs a dance partner and to work on his monologue.
Yeah, and it really does feel like he's good with other people, but by himself is just not there. Yep. I agree with Kyle about Kyle.
Agreed.
So yeah, again, it feels like they're going for a Matt Riddle or Kurt Angle dynamic where they're goofballs, but then they turn it on when they're in the ring. And if that's what they're going for, then you know, we'll see how it works out. Again, the match was still great with Cameron Grimes. It turned into finisher spam at the end, but ultimately, like, he tapped out Cameron Grimes with a sick-looking finisher, submission. It was great. But the thing that was most intriguing to me is halfway through the night, Cameron Grimes was trying to make an investment in some NFTs, and he got swiped. Someone else swiped his auction bid, and that someone was none other than Ted DiBiase. Hopefully still not spending illegal money. But, that was his son. Sorry, he's involved, though. But it has been hinted that Ted DiBiase may come down and have a feud with Cameron Grimes or may be involved with him somehow. What do you think the best option there would be, Nick? You have Cameron Grimes kind of turn somewhat face-ish and face off with DiBiase, or DiBiase come down and mentor him?
I don't think DiBiase should be involved in this in any way. I think you had an opportunity with Cameron Grimes to turn him into another $1 million man in his own version of it. And they were kind of going that direction anyway with Grimes, but I feel like it takes away from Grimes, actually, and what he could have done to be able to become that. You know, even if it's a next iteration of that. But the minute you bring it in, it immediately puts stigma. It immediately puts expectation on it. And I feel like it detracts from what Grimes has been doing the last few months. Because he's been on a tear.
He has, but, you know, it immediately drew comparisons to DiBiase, even with him doing a sketch where he was trying to get people to do the old basketball dribble and paying them. And, you know, so it's the DiBiase's already been in his mouth. Wouldn't it just elevate him a bit more and get maybe casual fans to come and check it out? What, DiBiase's back on TV, right?
We'll see.
What I don't see the downside is what I'm saying, but you say there's a downside.
I see it, not a downside, but more unnecessary. A potential downside, but it felt unnecessary. I think Grimes was doing just fine.
I think he's doing just fine too, but I don't think my point is I don't think this will hurt.
We'll see.
Couldn't hurt.
To be determined.
Couldn't hurt. DBD. Also to be determined who will ultimately take the title off of Kushida. It ain't going to be Oni Lorcan. Kushida held an open challenge. Yes, open challenge for the North American Championship. Yes, queen. Oni Lorcan came out to try his hand at Kushida. Didn't happen for him, though. My God, what a match, though.
Oh, God.
My God, what a match.
Is it fair to say that Oni Lorcan over the years in NXT has been one of the best hands working in NXT? He has come out and every match he's in, he goes out there and
he's the definition of a good hand.
Totally.
A dude who he sniffed one championship at one time because of the pandemic. But you know, at least he got the belts at least one time, and every time he goes out there, the dude just delivers. And of course, Kushida's a world-class talent, so he's going to have a good match with pretty much everybody. This was just an example of two guys who are great in the ring together.
Yeah.
It's worth noting that one of the things that Kyle O'Reilly said is, I'm looking to go get some gold. On his way out to his match with Cameron Grimes, Karrion Kross was sitting back there going, I heard you had my name in your mouth earlier. But Kushida's also a champion, and he's holding open challenges as well. Could we finally see a repeat of Kushida and O'Reilly, but this time in NXT at some point?
I'm gonna sit and let that one just marinate as I just, yes, please, put it in my eye holes. Thump, yes, all the yeses. And as a matter of fact, I would rather see that match than him and Karrion Kross.
Hold on, right now, Cruiserweight Championship. Cruiserweight, sorry, yes, what did I say? North American. This is the Cruiserweight Championship. Thank you, Kyle. This is for the Cruiserweight Championship, not the North American. That's Johnny Gargano.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I was on the same page with you. I just didn't register that. Yeah. Totally.
Thank you, Kyle. This is why it's good that we have live chats,
yes,
to correct us when we do stupid things like Michael Cole. So here we have the Cruiserweight Open Challenge. Theoretically, Kyle could go for that. He's under 205.
Yeah.
I don't know if he would step down to that. Plus, Kushida seems to have his hands full because after this match is over and he ends up beating Oni Lorcan, out comes Santos Escobar and Legado de Fantasma to beat him down. So it looks like he's still got some issues there. It looks like he still hasn't gotten out from underneath the eye of Santos Escobar. MSK comes out to save him, and next week we find out we're getting a 3-on-3 tag match. Kushida and MSK versus Santos Escobar and Legado de Fantasma, which I'm already calling that might be the match of the week. That's going to be absolutely full bore right there.
That's going to set a high bar for going into AEW the following night because they're known for their tag matches, right? That match right there is going to be... NXT has put on some banger tag matches themselves over the years. This is going to be one of those.
So I guess my question here is, should Kushida still be in a feud with Santos Escobar?
I think Santos should move on.
Right.
I like the idea of setting up Legado against MSK. That has legs. Let's keep that. Let's keep that going.
We're going to talk about the tag team division in a second. I actually want to get to the rest of the tag team division because it does seem like they're floating a lot of things there. They're actually keeping a lot of teams pretty hot.
Yeah.
And I like that. I don't know who's going for the tag championships next. And I dig that. If it was Legado, I think they'd be a great first contenders for it, but they have a lot of options right now in the tag division, which is good because for a while the tag division was floundering, partially because of the pandemic, but even before then it was a little bit weak. The other question I had for you is, what did you think about Kushida going back to his trunks and going barefoot? He actually slipped a couple times in this match. He went for his big fastball right-hand strike and slipped and almost didn't connect at one point. Do you think Kushida should have stuck with his jeans and boots, or is it good to have Kushida going to his trunks and bare feet to make him look more like a grappler?
I like this. I like a change. I like a refreshing of the scenery. In a way, he had been that for a couple of years, hadn't really had a lot of success, but now he's the champ. He's got the strap. Let's give him a new look to go with it.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is that I liked the jeans because they brought him back in with that new look with the jeans and the tank top to make him look a little edgier, and it worked. It made him look a little bit more fierce, a little scarier. But now he seems to be turning another leaf and going to, technical grappler Kushida, which is fine. The guy can do anything. I loved at one point, I think it was Vic, said that, Kushida is like one of the best pure strikers in NXT. And you had Wade Barrett go, dude, he can do everything. Yeah. He can grapple. He can high fly. He can strike. He can ground and pound. The dude's an 8-0 in MMA in Japan. Like, he's no freaking joke at anything. It's why he can work with anybody.
Yep.
So I like that they point that out, and I hopefully they utilize that. Hopefully they keep that going, keep that momentum going. Oh, I said it again. Keep it going with him in terms of reminding people this guy can do anything.
Yep. Kyle threw in 100 bits, said, not just Kyle O'Reilly versus Kushida. Kushida put on Twitter that he wants to be the bridge to Japan and other places with the Open Challenge. Could be some amazing one-offs coming. Imagine Shelley coming in for a one-off against Kushida.
Yeah, one wonders how far the forbidden door is open once the pandemic starts lifting. Yeah.
They could probably be feeling that pressure between working with Impact and New Japan and all of that stuff that AEW's got going on. I mean,
Daniel Bryan has said his contract is up soon. He's trying to renegotiate so that he can face people outside of WWE while still being employed by WWE. Everyone's seeing that door cracking open and saying, hey, can we do business?
It's opportunity. And if
right?
don't look a gift horse in the mouth, man. That's
if there are free agents out there that you can make some money with, freaking do it.
Yep.
You know, why not?
There are so many people out there that would be huge draws and bring eyes to the product. Why not take advantage of that?
Very exciting.
Yep.
Make for good matches
Yep.
too. But speaking of good matches, we're looking like we're due for a lot of them in the tag team division. We did have a couple of, one squash and one extended beating of an enhancement team. Breezango's still an enhancement team. I'm convinced they're an enhancement team now. They went up against Grizzled Young Vets. It was pretty much, it wasn't a squash, but it wasn't not by much.
It wasn't not a squash.
Much. It was not a squash. Grizzled Young Vets pretty much beat the crap out of them. And it looked good. And they said we're on the path to championships again. We want MSK. So they're on the path to it. Imperium showed up. They squashed Everrise, and it was pretty much just a full-on squash, except for a little bit of distraction when Killian Dane had to come out and grab Drake Maverick wanted to come out and kick their asses, and Killian Dane had to grab him kicking and screaming to the back. So you've got Dane and Maverick and Imperium all looking at the tag team titles. Everrise, when they're allowed to and are not enhancement, can hold a good match.
Yep.
And then also you had The Way later on find out that they are getting a shot at MSK next week, that came out of nowhere.
Fantastic.
Really? Gargano in theory? Odd, but cool. So that's a lot of tag teams circling the titles right now. You've got a lot of people who could legitimately go in there and take those titles, and you have a lot of people who could go in there and lose, and they would still not be harmed too much by that. Except the only one I think who you shouldn't have go in and lose against MSK is Grizzled Young Vets.
Yep.
Because they've done that twice.
They should win. They should be the ones. If it's not if, but when they decide to change the straps, it should be Grizzled Young Vets.
Ultimately, yes. But I see Imperium with how strong they look this week with the reinvigoration, with Wolf being back and Walter now being a bit of a bigger specter behind them and putting over that he's kind of there watching. He's given us a mission, right? Like that. It feels like a bigger deal now. I feel like Imperium has a lot of momentum to go. Oh, I said it again.
Drink.
New drinking game. Everyone take a shot every time Ian says the M word. They have a lot of that going into this where they could go back and get their titles back, essentially. And it might be the time for them to do that. We've already had Dane and Maverick have a shot at MSK. Next week, The Way. Legato could get it down the road. And all they beat those three. That's a title reign. Imperium can come in and take the titles.
Yep.
And it would be fun. Or Grizzled Young
Vets, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm excited because there, like you said, there was a while there, like around right before the Dusty Classic, where it looked like we were like, who the hell are they going to have in the Dusty Classic? Like we weren't really sure, and they ended up bringing in some UK teams and MSK, and it filled it out. And now, just a few months later, holy hell, we've got a hell of a tag division on our hands. So I'm excited. You guys know how I feel about tag team wrestling, and this is very exciting for me. I'm back high on the NXT tag division. I'm really good with where things are at right now. Yes, it should be Grizzled Young Vets, not Imperium, that take them because of those two losses that they ate in order to get MSK over.
Yeah. Well, speaking of wanting to get over, Dexter Lumis got over LA Knight, or at least he tried to. Looked like he was on his path to, but unfortunately he got a little bit distracted. LA Knight and Dexter Lumis have had some issues ever since the Eliminator tournament, and LA Knight finally got his shot at Dexter Lumis. It was kind of back and forth for the entire match. Started to look like Lumis was going to get the job done, but then outside the ring, who should pop up behind the fence but Indy Hartwell, who was moist with perspiration. And there right in front of her, she had Dexter Lumis, and he was hard. Lee breaking a sweat at all. Instead, he got distracted, and LA Knight ended up taking him back in the ring and beating him 1, 2, 3. And Indy gets dragged away by the rest of the way. And I have to say that this carried on for the rest of the show. This is like the ongoing joke in the show is Indy just being absolutely obsessed with Dexter Lumis. And to a point where it's Nick, it's a little awkward. It's funny.
It's a bit uncomfortable.
It's a bit uncomfortable, but in a good way,
Yeah.
where I'm just sitting, I'm kind of watching through my fingers, like, oh my god,
I just want to get a hose and like hose her off. Like, calm down.
she is playing Smitten.
That woman's in heat.
So well. She's
thirsty. She's thirsty for some Dexter.
like a cat yowling in the middle of the night. She is in the desert. She's so thirsty. She keeps seeing Dexter throughout the show. At one point, ditching Candice LeRae to stare at a. I don't know if it was supposed to be like a projection of Dexter behind a door or what it was, but Indy got distracted and Candice ended up getting jumped and beaten up by Ember and Shotzi. She started talking smack and like, me and Indy are gonna get you, and they're like, Indy who? She turns around and goes, "Oh crap!" And they grab her and drag her in the room. And next time we see her, she's just totally disheveled and sits behind the rest of the ring. I honestly think it's genuinely funny stuff they're doing with the way. I know some people. As a skit, as an ongoing skit, there's some genuinely funny stuff. Austin Theory being the relentless doof. Including, Bronson Reed coming in and challenging Johnny Gargano. Gargano saying, no way, back of the line with you. And Austin Theory being like, yeah, that's why I challenged you next week and told William Regal that if you beat me, you could have a shot at Johnny Gargano because you can't beat me. And Johnny's like, he beat you last week. Well, yeah, but I've got his number. And he pokes him in the ribs. He's like, see, your ribs are still hurting. He goes, ow! Stuff like that. There's so many little, and it's so fast paced. It's fantastic comedy stuff.
Yeah.
But the question I have, so on the one hand, good for LA Knight. He's got to win. It worked well. I want to talk about him in a second. Dexter Lumis, he's involved in this too, but kind of, ancillary to everything else. Is being involved with this kind of comedy stuff, is it detrimental to his kind of creepy character, or is it working because his character doesn't change to be a part of this comedy? He's the straight man.
I think it's always been creepy, but it's always been in a silly, funny kind of way. And especially once he started drawing caricatures of everybody, the writing was on the wall for it. And then he had Halloween Havoc, where he was the MC of the whole thing. Or I guess Shotzi was, but he was kind of opened it up.
Amazing. He was the host, but he just kind of like drew pictures of the matches.
Right. He just stood there. He never says anything.
Yeah, well, because he's not the psycho killer anymore. He's the tortured artist, right? He's just very dark and twisted.
He's going to be the lovesick fool.
But it doesn't. Yeah, you can't really tell. He's no selling Indy completely. You can see that he's kind of intrigued by her.
He's putting his hands up on the fence, and they're doing this.
He's intrigued. He's intrigued, but you can't really tell with him, right? I don't know.
In my head, I'm going, what if Chris Statlander had actually landed in NXT and they were doing this with her? It would make so much sense.
What? Oh, because she's
doing
got
the alien kind of thing, and he's doing it would be.
I don't know. I like the dynamic with Indy Hartwell just being this slightly less innocent schoolgirl crush kind of thing.
Right.
It's just, oh Lord. At any moment, I'm waiting for this to go TVMA, but this is working for me.
Yeah,
it's all the stuff that's happening with the way is working for me. But LA Knight's right in there with like Tyler Rust, Swerve Scott, etc., Leon Ruff, even Bronson Reed. I'll throw in there. A lot of these guys who are in that mid card area of NXT, who don't really like. They'll come out and they'll do some things, but they don't really have. You can't see them as being a champion yet. Bronson Reed, I think, is at the point where you can see him being a champion. Swerve, maybe as well. But I think Knight, maybe he just needs to do more here. I feel like he's just another face in the crowd at this point in NXT.
Bronson,
do you get that feeling from him? No, LA Knight. Bronson, I think, has made himself stand out a little bit. LA Knight, I mean, obviously, we love Eli Drake. He's a standout performer. Killer promo, even though he's completely ripped his cadence off from 1980s Flair and a bunch of other guys. But it's working.
He needs a podium in Tony Schiavone, basically.
Right. When he was in NWA, it was the perfect fit.
It was.
But this is the thing: it's working for him. But I wonder if he's just fading into the background.
He feels a little bit out of place. Yes.
And
they're pushing him, but he doesn't have a program with anybody per se, and
Kind of like Tyler Rust, right?
Yeah, especially, I mean, at least Tyler Rust had the Malcolm Bivens things going for him, the little backstage antics and things like that.
Yeah.
At least he had that going. I mean, LA just feels like, okay, you're here and you're still here, okay, but you're okay. You won a match from a distraction from a love-struck couple. Okay.
Yeah,
he feels out of place.
You won the Eliminator tournament. Like, he's getting some wins. They just don't feel like a big deal, if that makes sense. So I wonder about him. Anyway,
Esme's in the chat doing singing. I want to know what love is. I want you to show me.
Oh man,
that's good stuff. We were just talking about 80s hair bands earlier this week. That's good stuff.
Yeah. Now I'm seeing Dexter Loomis as the lead singer of Whitesnake.
I want to feel what love is.
Indy Hartwell on the hood of a Jaguar.
Yes. Oh God. Imagine if he drew that, or if Indy was like dancing outside as he came out of the locker room or something like that. Just it'd be so good.
I might actually
just some
lose my
giant fan blowing these like scarves on her hair back and all that.
He just comes out and she's just blowing in the wind like Sigourney Weaver in Ghostbusters when he opens the door, right? Just like, are you the key master?
There is no data.
Wait.
There is no data. Only soul.
Oh, Jesus.
What a lovely singing voice you have.
What a lovely singing voice you have there. Oh.
Well, we're way off track now. Let me catch up real quick.
One of you in there.
Calthrone 100 bits said, this Indian Loomis stuff I absolutely love. That trip, if it wasn't planned, made everything 1,000 times better too. Be interesting what happens with Indy and the way with this stuff, and Indy's former independent tag partner Stephanie DeLander signing with WWE this week. Interesting signing if they want to keep that alive. Thank you, Kyle. I threw in another 100 bits, said we need to start moving some of these mid-card guys up the card. It's incredibly crowded in the North American title picture, and it's rather light on contenders in the cruiserweight and main event divisions. I agree with you on the main event side. I think the cruiserweight, there's plenty of opportunity there. It abounds, especially if you look at 205 Live and what's going on over there as well. But, I mean, it feels like Karrion Kross is insurmountable at this point. Like, who is going to take down Karrion Kross?
Which means you have to elevate the lower titles. And right now, that North American Championship seems stapled to Johnny Gargano's chest. And Kushida, earlier I was thinking North American Championship, and generally being like, oh, this could be a cool opportunity. But again, like, he's cruiserweight champion. Yeah. That's a limited number of guys who can go for him. Swerve Scott has already done his time in the cruiserweight division. You know what I mean? Like, he should be moving up. Maybe Leon Ruff can come down there. There's a lot of guys in 205 Live who could come over to NXT and have a good time. But it's just there's so many guys, not enough belts.
Yep.
And I almost feel like it would have been a good reason to take the belt off of Johnny at TakeOver and have Bronson be a defending champ, and Johnny and the Way can just go do their shtick on the side, and you can have feuds with any of these other mid-card guys.
They absolutely should have dropped the title to Bronson Reed at this point.
It feels bottlenecked right now, frankly.
Yep.
So
this is what happens when you don't pull the trigger on title changes, is you feel this kind of, okay, now what? What do we do now? And I trust in Regal. In Regal we trust, but I want to see some movement. I agree with Kyle here. It's starting to feel a little bit stale.
Regal and Road Dogg and Triple H and Shawn Michaels and everyone else who books it and writes it, and all the people that we don't know their names because they're the creative writers and they never get any credit. All those people.
All of them.
Someone else who you may not have known of before this show, Saray, formerly known as Sarii, over in Stardom, over in Japan, all across Japan.
Full disclosure, I had never heard of her. I had never seen her until it was announced that she was coming to NXT, and I had my trepidations.
So I posted in the group. There's a link to a website that's got most of her matches on it, including some recommendations of ones to check out if you want to see what she was about over in Japan. Some very good matches over there. Like I described her last week, she's pretty meat and potatoes. She's, I would say, like Asuka without the over-the-top personality. Hard-hitting, has some great moves, some great suplexes, just monster forearms. Good, but just doesn't quite have that, not the dark personality that Io Shirai has, not like all the way kawaii cuteness of Kairi Sane, and not kind of the insanity of Asuka. She's somewhere just in the middle. And that's exactly what you saw on NXT, where she faced Zoe Stark. Zoe approached her outside with William Regal and said, "Hey, Mr. Regal, I know she's just new here, but I really would be honored if I got the first match." Regal said, "Yes, I love the sound of that. Let's have a match." They went and had a very honorable Warriors match. It was just good sportsmanship all around, and just felt like a contest, and it was great.
Magnificent.
Nick, what did you think of your first experience of Sarray?
Mwah.
Yeah?
Mwah.
You dug it?
Love it. I thought it was fantastic. They both looked great. Zoe Stark looked great. Sarray looked great. Just more, please. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Do you feel like Zoe Stark got in too much offense here? Do you think Sarray should have been made to look stronger, or was it a good way to show that she could sell?
No, it was a good way to show that she could sell, but also it made Zoe Stark look even better. Like I think it made her look good in defeat. Right.
It made them both look good because it just showed that Zoe is a beast, but Sarray is just more of a beast. Yeah. She can kick out of some really monster stuff and then put on her Northern Lights suplex. Oh, that's pretty.
A week, 2 weeks ago, we saw Zoe Stark tangling with Raquel Gonzalez. And, I mean, she can hold her own. And I think that they've established that enough about Zoe that she is an absolute workhorse. And she can go. So, I didn't take anything away that she didn't, Sarray didn't just come out here and squash her. I thought it was a fantastic match. This is the kind of women's division stuff we love NXT for. And I thought it was fantastic. It was a great example of the kind of stuff that I love about NXT women's division.
Yeah, this was, I mean, if we had not had the women's match that we had on AEW this week, this would have been an outs. Like I would have said, this is one of the best matches of the week. This would have been the women's match of the week. Unfortunately, they got overshown by AEW putting on a clinic in their women's division. But before we talk about that, we talk about the fact that Toni Storm did beat down Zoe Stark after the match. Apparently, their little feud is not over yet. Sarray did come in for the save. If that means we're seeing Sarray versus Toni Storm, which, yes, please, that's not a match that has happened before.
Really?
Also,
I thought they did have a match over in Stardom when she was there.
I went and looked it up. I didn't find one.
Huh.
I thought so too. I couldn't find it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I spent about 20 minutes looking and I couldn't find one.
Interesting.
So please, somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
Send me the link if you can find that match if it exists. Because I could have sworn they had one that Toni had the title over WXW or whatever. I think it was. I don't remember. She's had all the titles around all the different promotions.
Yeah, she's been around.
Kyle throwing 100 bits said when Ian described Sarray, she sounded like a younger Miko Satomura without the intensity, and I wasn't disappointed with it. I guess at this point, Workhorse Stark absolutely loved this match. I hope that since EO is taking a break, the angle with Toni leads to a tag team, which I'm sure Toni sticking around has Nick happy. Yeah, I like heel Toni too. All joking aside, I think it's a better fit for her. She needs to be coming out and disrupting and beating people down after matches and stuff like that. And we need more good heels in the women's division. We do.
You had Dakota cut a sick promo this week, and kind of for Raquel Gonzalez, establishing that she's still kind of she's still a part of Raquel's scene, and it was a great promo by her. So yeah, the more heels, the better. Frankie's a heel. She interrupted an interview with Io Shirai, and her dog got on the table somehow and interrupted them.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. What's that doing here? So we may be seeing an Io Shirai and Frankie feud, which yes. Okay. Taya Valkyrie and Io Shirai, done. Sold. Done. Do it. So yeah, I think that they've now dialed it in. We have the right amount of shithead heels and evil heels, the right amount of funny heels. You know what I mean? They have a good spread in the women's division, which they need. There's no reason they shouldn't. They have enough women.
Yeah.
By God, and they've got great faces as well. So, yeah, their women's division is still the best women's division in the majors in the U.S.
Yeah.
In the U.S.
Well, speaking of which, you mentioned a really solid women's match that kind of outdid the one that we saw on Tuesday night. But to talk about that, we need to head over and break down what happened on AEW Dynamite.
Yes, indeed. I said we had a women's match to check out on AEW Dynamite, and I did not lie. The highest rated segment in AEW history. Officially, Hikaru Shida versus Tay Conti for the championship. My goodness. They did like 1.1 million, 1.2, somewhere around there. It was the highest rated segment. I think it gained 75,000 people by the end of it. So congratulations to them. Not only that, it was worth people tuning in for because the match was bad ass. These women pulled out some awesome moves. There was some great striking moves. There was some great grappling on the mat. Just great countering. You had Tay's judo experience coming into play. Shida looked like a game champion. In fact, Nick, I'm going to say this is one of my favorite matches they've had in the last year that didn't involve Serena Deeb or Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I rank this up there with those matches, which you and I hold very highly because they were just such great technical matches. This had a great drama to it, and they didn't even have a heel-face dynamic. You had Tay Conti, Hikaru Shida coming in as friends who were being competitive. They showed respect to each other at the beginning. All the first initial strikes from the match, they would smile at each other and be like, all right, it's going to be like that. Okay. Yeah. And it never got too chippy. It got competitive, but it never felt like one of them turned heel all the way to the end. It was fantastic. Yeah, what did you think about this, man? I know that you've been down on the AEW Women's Division before. Is this the moment where we can officially say the Women's Division is saved? We're on the right track?
No, because I've gotten to that point already. I got to that point with Britt Baker last summer, and then they brought in Serena Deeb, Thunder Rosa, and we started seeing others like Allison Kay, sort of mercs come in and work matches and things like that. So I've turned around on the women's division, and I think Britt Baker last summer had a lot to do with that for me as she was injured. I think Chris Statlander coming in was a good get. It's unfortunate she got injured, but she's back now. So I think that there's nowhere to go but up from here for the AEW
the thing.
women's
We know
division.
your predilection for Statlander and Baker.
Yep.
And that's been your thing as well. It's not a real women's division if Statlander's not there, if Baker's injured. The question is take Baker out of the equation.
Sure.
Statlander is still hanging out with best friends. She hasn't really gotten back involved in the division.
Sure.
Without them, don't you agree that the women's division in AEW has turned a corner and now has a bunch of characters, has a bunch of wrestlers that you can get behind and believe in and are excited to watch matches with?
Kind of. If I'm taking them out of the equation,
yes.
I still think Hikaru Shida has been a decent champ. I mean, she's had like 3 defenses. You know,
she's had more than that.
I mean, it feels like a month can go by and she's not on TV. I hate that.
Right.
I want to see my champions. I want to see the belts on TV. I want to see them
defending champions. Yeah.
They don't have to be in matches defending, but listen, we can't go a week without seeing Kenny Omega at least on 1, if not 2 TV programs. Can we please have our women's champions?
So Shida, we didn't see a lot of because it was a freaking pandemic.
Sure.
But she wasn't, and Kenny doesn't defend that often either.
I'm not talking about defending. I'm talking about at least they're present. They appear,
right.
They cut a promo, they cheer someone on the side.
TV.
Okay.
She's been on TV every episode for the last few months, at least. Is that one of the reasons you feel like it might be growing and getting better?
I mean, it's a stretch. I had some choice things to say in the past about Riho being the champion. And it's hard for this to come across without me sounding like I don't like Asian women champions. I just don't know if they've made the right choices for champions. I feel like there's more charismatic, better performing people that could be better figureheads of your division. I don't know how I feel about that. It's weird.
I feel like Sheeta's definitely grown into the role, and I think it has nothing to do with where she's from.
No.
I think it has to do with her presence and how she was presenting herself. I think she feels more like a champ now, possibly because of her own confidence, possibly because of the opponents that they're giving her.
That's what it is.
You know what I mean? Because her feud with Abaddon didn't do favors for anybody. And whereas, every time that she has a feud with Nyla Rose, it's incredible. So it's one of those things where I feel like Shida, now that she has been legitimized by being such a long-holding champion, it has actually helped her prestige, her aura, if you will. But it's also how she's presenting herself as well. She feels like more of an icon of the division now. And it's one of those situations where sometimes you say the belt makes the person. This might be one of those situations where ultimately Shida stepped up into the role we weren't as big on her initially because she didn't feel big enough for the role, and that might have been partly AEW's booking of her, might have been her own presentation. But ultimately, I think that it's come to a point where she feels like the champ.
Yeah.
She feels like a good champ. And this match is a great example of that, where you have someone like Tay Conti, who's been on a roll. She's been legit. She feels like a legit competitor. She's someone who's been out there putting on matches where she kicks people's asses. And you and I both have said she's come light years from what she was in NXT. She feels like someone who could kick your head off. She beat Nyla Rose. So they made Tay look like a legitimate challenger, and she'd just kicked her ass in this match. I mean, it was back and forth, but she kicked her ass. And they came out with some moves in this match. That fireman's carry drop. What is she? Widow's something? I did not catch the name of the move, but it's when she had Tay Conti in a fireman's carry on the turnbuckle, and then just dumped her on her back on the actual turnbuckle itself, and she fell to the outside.
Yeah, I didn't catch the name of it either. I know what you're referring to.
It looked absolutely nasty. Absolutely nasty. And it was awesome. And there was a lot of that in this match, where there was moves where I was very impressed with. But very few moments in this match where I thought they were whiffing or anything. So it was a great match all around.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic. And I do have high hopes for the women's division so far. I do think there's better stories to tell. I think when we move on from
I think
Shida.
I think you're getting your wish, because, of course, Britt Baker does come out at the end of this, point to the graphic where it shows that Tay Conti is now no longer the number one contender. It's now Britt Baker. So, Nick, your time may have come.
Her time is up. My time is now. No, I think
like
there is more opportunity to have someone like a Britt Baker with the title, and I think everyone will see. And I hope to be proven right, I guess, in a weird way, because I hope Britt doesn't let me down, because I do think they're going to strap her. I do think she will have it for a hot minute. And I think we're going to see just how good Britt Baker can really be as kind of a shitbag heel. And I think she's going to do a really good job with it.
Well, it's funny because one of the things that Shida is saying is, I want to be the champion in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
She hasn't been all year. She's been like all the other champs this year who've held it for the first time, and they just haven't had a crowd. Drew McIntyre, the poor guy, finally gets it, and just no crowds, right? Shida is the AEW Women's Champion, and poof, no crowds. It would be a shame if right before crowds come back, she has to relinquish it to Britt Baker.
They've had audience at AEW for months now.
You know what I mean? Like
I know what you mean.
House.
20,000 people
Packed
arenas and stuff.
Yeah,
I get it.
Like real lively packed houses. Like they're doing their best. But at the same time, it's not the same thing.
I agree.
So I would feel bad for. I mean, obviously, a story is a story. You tell it to how the story works best, and I think that Britt taking it off of Shida is a good story.
Chase her first. Make it worth it.
Well, Double or Nothing is coming up.
Yeah.
So
well, we got about a month. So it's 4 good Dynamites where you can make that story, make her prove it, right?
Yeah.
Esme threw in 100 bits, said these ladies killed it to go from the women's division sucks to hitting over 1 million for the women's match. Outstanding. Yeah, I agree. I take nothing away from that. It was an absolute milestone kind of night for the AEW women's division, for sure. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Esme. Kyle threw in 100 bits, said, I wanted to love this match more than I did. Functionally, in ring, it's an amazing match, but I felt the presentation did these women a disservice. Commentary felt disinterested outside of Excalibur calling the moves. And a problem I've pointed out with AEW from the beginning, no ring audio to register the women's audible reactions or the bumps in the ring. This was the best women's match this week, but it felt treated like an afterthought because they know Britt is coming.
I wonder, I mean, Ty definitely doesn't feel like as big of a deal yet, but they did put this right in the guts of the show at the top of the hour. So it was the secondary main event. It wasn't the main event. They tried to explain it later by saying that this had a 60-minute time limit, whereas their main event for the TNT Championship was time remaining. So they wanted to give the woman more time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Here's the thing. I thought this match was superlative with or without the commentary working on it, just because I did like the presentation. I liked the way that both women played their characters in it and how they're bowing to each other. They went to shake hands. They go, no, we bow. We're both trained to we're trained in ways that require us to bow. Yeah. Right. So that's the appropriate way for us to start this. I agree with Kyle's points about the ring sound and the commentary being a little bit more invested in the match and selling the story more, but I would say those are nitpicks that didn't take away enough from my enjoyment of this match. At least not as much as Kyle. So
Esme threw in 1,000 bits.
Oh,
Good Lord, doing one of her drops.
Esme.
Also, here's some bits for Sir Ian's saucy lighting.
Isn't it saucy?
It's saucy.
Yeah, it's the best I could do.
Thank you, Esme. Kyle threw in 100 bits. Said, I also feel a title change here would have been great to shake things up and transition it to Britt and reward Ty. Then have Sheeta chase Britt as fans come back for All Out.
Give Sheeta some time off. Have her come back later to get it again. I could see her getting a championship twice, but definitely
flip it at Double or Nothing. I wouldn't want to flip it on the TV show.
Give it to Britt and then spend about 6 months building up Statlander to come take it off of her.
Nah, see, now you're with me.
How did I know that would get Nick? But I mentioned the TNT title match, Darby Allin versus Jungle Boy. Darby Allin's holding a open championship of sorts, open challenge, and this week he got Jungle Boy.
Darby Allin will not stop putting on amazing matches, and if he's not careful, he's going to become one of my favorite wrestlers. He's absolutely getting there.
I have to apologize. I've said on this show that I can't stand Darby Allin's. I'm not a big fan of Darby Allin's gimmick. It has not always worked for me. My God, that guy can put on a good wrestling match.
Jeez.
These two kids went out there and absolutely just.
You talk about inventing moves. And so Jungle Boy did some kind of like reverse German suplex thing that looked like he was going to do like a reverse Rana, but it ended up being this weird. I don't even know what that is. I've never seen that before. Who is this kid?
Yeah, this was Suplex City in here. We had superplexes, we had bridging German suplexes, we had a Liger suplex at one point, which that is an insane suplex to pull off out of nowhere.
God.
We had a coffin drop on the apron, which ow. It was funny because JR was trying to say that Darby Allin's, no one's going to accuse him of being a mat wrestler. I'm like, he could do that too, you old fuddy-duddy. And which Excalibur was quick to correct him on. He's like, Darby can do that too. He works with what he can in the moment. He's willing to do whatever it takes in the moment. And we saw that because Jungle Boy kept getting his finish, he kept getting his submission move on him, which for some reason I'm right now completely spacing what it's called. Snare trap.
Snare trap, yeah.
Yeah, you got a snare trap on him a couple times.
And Darby just kept crawling to the ropes somehow.
He kept getting out, but finally got trapped in it, and the only way out was to gouge Jungle Boy's eyes, showing that Darby will do whatever it takes. And I like that. I like that it's not necessarily that he's heel. He's just a dude who he will scratch and claw to win because he's not ever going to be the biggest dog in the fight unless he's facing Marco Stunt. So this was an awesome match too. Ended it with all kinds of shenaniganry. Ultimately, Darby Allin does get the win. It was great. It was a nice sneaky win at the end. Just caught Jungle Boy out. Ends up. Let's see. What was it? He got him the Last Supper pin. That is a cool pin.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That cross the legs and then fall over and hold the one leg.
It looks a lot like that snare trap in a way, but it's like a roll up. It's almost like a small package roll up in a way, but he does it where he grabs the leg.
But it's an extended leg. Yeah.
Oh God, it's pretty.
crosses leg like he's going to go into a figure four, but then flips over.
Yeah.
It's beautiful and it looks legitimate. It's not like a some of these schoolboy roll-ups where you're like, oh please, they can't get out of that. I was sitting there going, there's no way Jungle Boy could have gotten out of that. It's legitimate looking, and that's what makes it good. And Jungle Boy was visibly disappointed afterwards. That is a good match finish. I got to say, one thing I really just kind of noticed this week, and thinking back on the last weeks, AEW does a really good job with creating interesting new match finishes.
Yeah.
They don't always have the same three finishers finishing matches. They don't always have someone tapping someone out. They don't always have someone using their one patented move to take people out. The three moves in a row, right? The what is it? John Cena, 5 moves of doom. He doesn't just go, same thing. You can't see me, running 5-knuckle shuffle, right?
Every Jeff Hardy match ever.
Right. They change things up. You never know when that pin's going to come, and that's exciting. That's exciting. It doesn't always work, but when it does, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I really liked.
Can we talk
But
about the
also-
ancillary stuff that was going on? Luchasaurus, Sting,
And
Scorpio
Sting.
Sky, like and they're Luchasaurus and Sting are like wrestling on the outside because Sting acts like he wants to interfere and Luchasaurus stops him, and then they just go down the face tunnel.
They brawl out of there.
Disappear, and then after the match, Sting just comes out and did he murder Luchasaurus backstage? Like, where's Luchasaurus all of a sudden?
Luchasaurus is like crucified in the back, like he's been skinned and used for a pair of crocodile shoes. You know, it's Sting comes back out the bat at the end of the match because everything's broken down. Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky have come out, started to beat down Darby Allin and Jungle Boy, and Lance Archer came out to help too, which was. Huh?
What's this? I don't understand the
Lance Archer?
dynamic we have going on with Sting. I hope they I like that they're setting us up for something, but I hope they tell us what the hell's going on soon.
Well, that's the thing is that Lance Archer came out first, and then Sting came out to kind of clean up after that.
Yeah.
What? I mean, I'm curious where they're going with this whole Lance Archer Sting thing. It's a weird dynamic. Is Lance Archer going to dump Jake and go have Sting be his mentor? Is he going to turn on Sting and go heel again? It's weird. I don't know where it's going, but I'm in.
Yeah.
I don't know where you're going with this, but I'm
eating
in.
my popcorn.
Poor Scorpio Sky trying to get a singles career going. Seems like he's back in a tag team again. He and Ethan Page both seem to be going for the TNT title, which I'm cool with, but I feel like, you know, ultimately Scorpio should be built up as the kind of guy who can take out Darby Allin, and he should get that championship because at some point you got to strap that dude. The dude's been doing too much good work, and you've been promising us he's the next big thing for the last 2 years. Make it happen. And Ethan Page, you know, he's the new guy on the block. He could definitely do with some sort of legitimizing. So, yeah, I'm not sure where they're going with a lot of this at the end of this match, but I'm liking the fact that you've got these guys circling that TNT championship. I'm intrigued with what's going on with Archer and Sting. I like that they're using Sting a little bit better. They're having him coming out there and look like a badass toe-to-toeing Luchasaurus. He's not coming out there and being Jimmy Stewart anymore. He's coming out there and being Sting.
Yep.
So good stuff all around here. Not such good stuff, in my opinion. Let me hear what you think, Nick. Inner Circle and Pinnacle cutting promos on each other. Not to say there's anything wrong necessarily with the promos themselves, but just the fact that they were cutting promos instead of doing anything else. Do we have to catch up, Nick, or are we good to go on and talk about this?
Esme threw in 200 bits. Thank you, Esme.
Hello!
Said
Thank you, Esme.
AEW is also really good at having a smorgasbord of a card, a little something for everyone every week. It's like it's a tasteful charcuterie.
Yeah, it's a charcuterie plate. They're also really good at getting a lot of their people on TV every week because they have them just come out and have some bit of business, or they're in a faction and they come out with their faction. So you see someone all the time. They're not sitting back there in catering wondering if they'll
Even
ever
Negative
be
One
in
is coming out and like just doing a flex move and then going to the back, you know?
And he's gone. Yeah, going back to do his homework.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Esme.
That's good stuff. Thank you very much.
My thoughts on the promos. I actually really enjoyed the somewhat impromptu improv nature of the Pinnacle one. The whole idea
of the Jericho one.
The
Jericho one felt improv.
Well, the Pinnacle one where they were getting the scarf and he had a problem unfolding it because it was silk and it was sticking together and right. And then he's like, "Yeah, Wardlow, what do you think?" Me big man, me not like Jericho. You know, and it felt a little bit
what are you,
improv.
Shane McMahon over there? You're now because he's big, he's got to be dumb. Is that what you're on now, Nick? Really? That's where you're going?
He actually sounded very intelligent. Like that was the
did.
first time we had really heard, for me at least, I had heard Wardlow give a proper promo like that, and I was fantastic. It was really good.
It's funny,
stuff.
Chris. Last week, it sounded like when you said my name, you kind of stuttered a little bit. It's almost like putting the big War Dog's name in your mouth makes you a little worried.
Yo.
It was a good promo.
Yeah, it was.
It was casual. He little too much licking of his lips for me. Just that kind of
Drink some water,
wet
dude.
sound in between. So I was like, but at the same time, it was MJF threw it to Wardlow. Wardlow cut a nice little thing, and it went back to MJF. The rest of the Pinnacle were just sitting there looking like bumps on a log. Revival were sitting there staring into nothing. Sean Spears was kind of like laughing at people's jokes for no reason. He was like, just sitting there. Well, at least his mohawk is back to being black again.
Right.
And Dax was wearing Bret Hart socks. Nice touch, buddy. But this was all MJF. And it was him just freaking out at Chris Jericho and saying, you say all these, you're talking all this smack, Chris, but guess what? You're a leech who goes and finds whoever's most over with the fans, has a match with them, and then when you get good numbers, you say it's because of you. Shots fired. Very true. And then he starts screaming and says, guess what, Chris? I beat you. You say you're the top dog here. I beat you. What does that make me? Essentially. And then we also have the Inner Circle cutting a promo. Chris Jericho out there kind of riffing. This felt like it was improv.
Yeah.
And Chris Jericho actually kind of called it out and said, I'm just out here riffing, MJF. You were back there reading lines like you were in a high school play. That being said, Chris had a couple of jokes that didn't quite hit because they kind of went off the cuff. He had a little bit where he tried to do a show tune and it didn't quite work. Threw it over to Santana at one point, and Santana seemed like he was about to get to his point, and then he just said, we've seen the color of your blood. Now we'll see how much heart you have. Okay, back to Jericho. And it just... You had just threw it to Jake Hager, who started like throwing straws at the camera and going like, yeah, we're gonna break your jaws, and then you're gonna be eating your meat through a straw. Like the straws I just threw everywhere, but now I'm out, so I'm out of straws. But you've been drinking through a straw. I mean, last week we had some good promos. Last week Jericho had the immortal promo, as they're starting to call it already, and it was really good. It was really good. It was a good promo. This felt like they tried to follow it up, and it didn't work. And what's the thing we've been saying about this feud, Nick? Right now, the Pinnacle does not feel like they're on Inner Circle's level.
Not yet.
Inner Circle's been beating them down ever since they got back. They've been one step ahead of them. They've been doing better promos. They've been feeling more cool. The Pinnacle feels like a bunch of just grumpy dudes sitting in the back. They don't feel like a threat to the Inner Circle. Jericho's out there soaking up the face cheers and loving being a good guy again. And it's not making the Pinnacle look like a legitimate force.
No, if they're trying to make this the reemergence, the reincarnation of the Four Horsemen, so to speak, they're not out there being Four Horsemen like. They're not causing trouble at every turn. They're not interfering in everything like they should be doing. They're not being. They're not nuisance.
Rolling up in limos. They're just sitting on little like.
I want to see them getting out of private jets. I want to see them. I want to see them being the Pinnacle. I want to see them on the golf course in stupid outfits, cutting like promos on people, right?
Yeah, like Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers did. That was great. Kenny Omega's doing the Four Horsemen better than the guys who were supposed to be doing the Four Horsemen are doing it. And this is the thing, is that like this is not just us being like, we're wrestling. We want them to be doing this. These are the things that are going to make them work better, that are going to make them feel like a bigger deal. And therefore, it's going to feel like a bigger deal to have the Inner Circle. The same thing we were talking about earlier with Bianca and Bayley, right? It's a fundamental aspect of storytelling and wrestling in particular, where you make your opponent look good. So when you beat them, you look good by comparison. And if you can make your opponent look good in defeat, it makes both of you look good. You both make money. You can make money in the future. That's how it works. So far, this doesn't feel like it's executing on those concepts. They're not making the Pinnacle look good enough. They're not making them look dangerous enough. The Inner Circle is coasting on their goodwill from turning face. They're not feeling like they actually... I'm not feeling the animosity between the two teams, if that makes sense. It's being presented as being there, but I don't feel it.
Especially under the premise of you're about to have a blood and guts match.
You're about to have a blood and guts match, and we're out here making jokes about each other. Santana was the only one who actually felt like he was pissed off.
Yeah.
And MJF just felt like his butt was hurt, not
Jake
like he was actually mad at them. Jake tried. We'll leave it at that.
The people!
he was the worst one because he felt like he was chuckling at his own joke more than he was actually pissed off these guys jumped him.
Yeah.
I
wanted more out of the Inner Circle one. I didn't mind the Pinnacle sitting backstage, kind of too cool for school. I didn't mind that so much. I just want them to look like they're just absolute badasses, kind of like what the Elite's doing. That's
exactly.
We'll go over that. Now, let's jump to that because we saw the Elite hanging out and they had their own trailers, right? They had their own spots. They had their own staff, like all of that stuff hanging out in the back.
They've got new dangly earrings. They've got Bucks have brand new Gucci outfits. I don't know if they were Gucci or not, but they looked Gucci.
Fantastic.
They look like absolute dickbag heels. Just the kind of, it goes back to, I mean, classic wrestling. Gorgeous George coming in, being the cock of the walk, and everyone hates him because he's so flamboyant and ridiculous looking. They're doing that.
Yep.
They're wrestling 101. Chris Jericho with the top knot in WCW. Look ridiculous, people will hate you. And then have the faces just be like good old boys who are just here to whoop ass and chew chaw and drink beer. Here comes Moxley and Eddie Kingston in a gigantic F-350 running into the side of the trailer and knocking it 18 feet. They come around. Moxley's got a lead pipe. He smashes one of the windows as he comes around. Kingston's like, hey, whoa, careful, man. I'm right here. They get into the trailer, and the Bucks and the Good Brothers have already, of course, hit the trail as quickly as possible. Apparently, they have a teleporter in there as well. Sure. Good for them.
Yeah. Maybe it's over to Impact.
Exactly. That's how they get back and forth so quickly. Just pew, pew, pew. I just hope when they teleport back and forth, a fly doesn't get in there with them, because that's just,
we've seen how that worked out for Jeff Goldblum.
It ends in tragedies and maggot babies. Yeah. I'm just saying it does not end up well.
You throw up
anybody.
your food. It's not a good time.
You throw up on someone's arm, the arm melts off, your jaw falls off. It's just, it might be a metaphor for AIDS, but not likely, because the Cronenberg said it wasn't. Anyway, neither here nor there. We're going down a bit of a rabbit hole. Bottom line is Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley tried to take out the Bucks and the Good Brothers in the trailer. They weren't there. They had a nice little repartee going. It was pretty hilarious. I love their chemistry together. Keep them together forever, please. Have them go for the tag titles instead of Kenny Omega's title. That would be the best outcome of this. This was a lot of fun. As you said, the Elite right now is freaking hilarious in just what shitbag heels they are.
Yep.
But maybe that's the point, Nick. Maybe the fact that they're keeping the Pinnacle and the Elite the way that they're feeling, that the Elite, the Pinnacle just feels like a bunch of just gruff, no nonsense business guys, and the Elite feels like a bunch of flamboyant idiots.
Feels like the Baldwins.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the South Park movie. Hey, Alec, you know what sucks about being a Baldwin? Nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's that up in the sky? It's a bomb. Yeah.
That's what I love about. That's the vibe. That's the mood that I'm getting off of the Elite right now. It's just they're flying off on their singing to their own tune, dancing to their own tune.
I'm gonna need you to catch us up right now, because Esme has said something that just set me off.
Kyle throwing 100 bits said didn't get to see the Inner Circle bit, but the Pinnacle one was amazing. When MJF brought up the Jericho rub myth, I popped, because it's something that if you go into Jericho history all the way back to 2002, 2003, it's mostly true. Loved it. I was thinking we were about to get Cena and KO name drop on that rapid fire list. I don't know if he would go. I think he's smarter than to do that.
He was close.
Yeah.
Although the second they start calling Jericho Subtle Hogan, I'm gonna start laughing my ass off.
Yeah. Esme threw in 100 bits, said Santana is a hidden gem. Mark my words, boys.
Yes.
Santana is a future champion. I'm calling it now.
100% agreement. 100% agreement. That dude is money. Money.
Yep. Thank you, Esme. She's throwing another 200 bits.
Thank you.
Said, which I'm assuming is what you were referring to.
This is the one.
Can we just get a movie with Mox and Eddie bantering the whole time? A little Rush Hour, Midnight Run action. Yeah. Nice Midnight Run reference. I like that.
Tango and Cash.
Yeah.
With Kingston and Moxley.
Oh.
I'm done here.
Lethal Weapon.
Ooh, yeah, with Moxley being I'm too old for this shit.
No, Moxley's Riggs.
I mean that's what I mean. Murtaugh's Kingston.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Shit, Riggs. Shit.
I'm too old for this shit. I'm still too old for this shit. Oh, that'd be amazing. And you could have MJF as the oh crap. I've never forgotten his name before. From Goodfellas. Well, you think I'm funny?
Joe Pesci.
Pesci. You have
I'm the funny guy now.
I'm the funny guy now, huh? You think I'm funny? You have MJF as the Joe Pesci character.
Oh God.
Come on.
Amazing.
Come on. Leon Ruff is Chris Rock. It's just this is what we do on the mailbag. Is cast movies with wrestlers.
Thank you, Esme.
Done.
Thank you, Kyle.
Done.
What else we got to go over in AEW before we get out of here?
A few other quick notes. The show opened with another badass match. Hangman Page in a fall-away slam contest with Ricky Starks. Fall-away slam after fall-away slam. Good Lord. We had fall-away slams. We had underhook fall-away slams. We had fisherman's fall-away slams. It was fall-away slam city. Great match. Hard-hitting. Starks looked great, but ultimately his ankle gave out, and Hangman used it to submit him. So then Hangman got confronted by Taz, who said, "Look over here, Hangman." And so Hangman did, and then got shot blocked in the back by Hook, the greatest wrestler in AEW history, in his nice leather pants. And then as Hangman started to get up, Brian Cage came out to challenge him for next week. So interesting. Hangman Page saved by Dark Order, naturally from the clutches of Team Taz. But Hangman Page now get involved with Team Taz, another little detour on his trip. What do you think about that as a concept?
Not mad at it. Let it go.
I'm not mad at that either.
This was fantastic.
Cage versus Hangman. I mean, they both need wins.
This
Hangman's
would be a great get for Cage
guy
to finally get something that we've been waiting for him to get since he debuted at the ladder match last summer.
I wouldn't be mad at it at all.
No.
I would love it. What do you think about Hook? Why is everyone loving or hating Hook right now?
I don't get it yet. I'm not there yet. I don't know. I think it's just something Taz is trying. It's his son, right?
It is his son.
So I mean, is he just trying to put his son over? You know, it feels ridiculous.
It's become a bit of a meme.
Sure.
Saying that Hook is the greatest thing in wrestling right now. Here's the thing, Hook's. I look at him. I'm like, that dude. He still needs some seasoning. He's green, but dude's jacked.
Yeah, there's potential there.
The kid is in shape.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. We'll see.
He's a body guy.
I don't know. He's a body guy. Yeah, standing next to Brian Cage, he's a body guy.
Exactly.
Speaking of Team Taz,
Brian Cage really is that big in person. I promise. He's not that tall. He's about 5'10", 5'11".
He's all right.
But that dude
right.
is swole AF. He's 2 of me wide. It's ridiculous.
His arm is the size of my chest cavity.
Jesus.
Which is why seeing Hook next to him is kind of funny. You call him buddy.
Right.
Anyway, someone who is a big dude also, Hobbs. My goodness. Powerhouse Hobbs had a match with Christian. Tossed him all over the place. My goodness. Christian ultimately pulls this out. I love the story here that Hobbs is just a big, strong dude who's trying to kill Christian, and he would have done it if he hadn't showboated right when he was about to finish him off. Christian was able to sneak around, get the kill switch, and barely survive, covering him and looking like he's just seen a ghost. Is that the right way for Christian to be selling himself as a guy who's barely pulling off these wins against guys who have his number? He's trying to build himself back up. I mean, is this the right way to be doing it?
I think the idea was to make Hobbs look strong in defeat, and that Christian got a sneaky win over him, and Hobbs still looks like a monster because he was tossing him around the whole match. I don't know if it was effective in getting there, but I think that was the idea. I'm still in that spot, guys, where I still feel extremely uncomfortable when Edge, Daniel Bryan, and now Christian are wrestling again. I'm like it's almost detrimental to my ability to enjoy the match.
Christian was a concussion protocol, so
right. It's still
even then they're way like over careful about that these days. So I'm more comfortable with him than I am with any of the other guys.
Sting is another one.
Who have neck issues. Sting's one.
When I saw Brian Cage powerbomb him, I literally I didn't breathe for 60 seconds.
You shrieked. Yeah.
I peed a little.
Squirt.
I diddled.
Well, Hobbs, I got to say, Hobbs looked awesome in this match, even in defeat. They called out that he had been watching tape of Hacksaw Butch Reed. And, man, I feel like an idiot for not having put that together before. But, dear God, this guy could be the reincarnation of Butch Reed. Holy crap.
Wow.
He's starting to carry himself more like that, too. And that's, you can tell, like, he's learning really quick. This guy is going to be a big deal in the future, too. We've been saying that about a couple guys on this show so far. Yeah. Here's another guy he's got a very bright future. Like AEW is racking up some serious talent.
AEW's betting on the future.
One. They are. Look at their main event.
They're letting the veterans carry the show right now and put it and get it over with everybody. But look at who they're betting on. Darby. They're betting on Jungle Boy, Hobbs, right? MJF.
23.
All of them in their mid-20s.
Hikaru Shida, Tai Conti. They're not veterans.
No.
She does, quote unquote veteran, but she doesn't even, she's not only, she's 30. So they're definitely looking at the future, and guys like Christian are in there to work with guys like this and teach them some stuff. And if you're learning from Christian, you're learning from one of the
You
best.
brought back Arn Anderson, Sting, Jake Roberts.
Billy Gunn, who had a match with QT Marshall this week, basically Factory versus Nightmare Family. Billy Gunn is 57 goddamn years old.
Speaking of body guys, Jesus Christ.
That's a body guy.
That's a body guy.
That's a body guy. And it absolutely looks incredible for 57. Absolutely incredible for 57. Like, I'm always impressed when people are way better than their age would indicate. I'm the reason I'm up here, the reason my lighting is so lovely right now is I'm up with the Danger folks right now, and Danger Pops just turned 92 on Wednesday.
Jesus.
And is still a beast. We went out to a bunch of breweries yesterday. So I'm always impressed when someone is, it doesn't act their age. And Billy Gunn is a great example of that. Of course, both his sons got involved with this. You had Camarado ringside. You had him get involved.
Speaking of my new favorite wrestlers.
So I know exactly the spot you're talking about too, because at the end of this match, as you'd imagine, it all breaks down. QT Marshall gets a sneaky win, thanks to the help of Camarado. Ogogo comes in and basically just punches Billy Gunn right in the guts.
What do they call that? The $1 million punch or so? I can't remember what they call it.
Yeah, like $1 million punch. And that was that.
Dustin Rhodes comes out, gets a chair. Nick Camarado's out there, and Camarado takes a chair shot, a wooden chair shot.
A wooden chair shot to the head, and the chair just explodes, and Camarado just stands there and grimaces at Dustin Rhodes. As if the dude wasn't scary enough to begin with. He's tossing gun boys around and then takes a chair shot to the head and no-sells it.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Two more great factions that they're doing a great job of selling the differences. And again, you've got some older guys involved in this. You have some veterans, and you've got some younger guys who are learning from working with them. And it's all been very entertaining, and they're doing a good job of keeping this to no championships involved. Doesn't need them.
Nope.
Doesn't need them. Interesting characters, interesting feud, fun stuff we haven't seen before. Not taking it too seriously, and is having a bunch of chaos and mayhem and violence, and it's a ton of fun.
Oh, yeah. Esme threw in 100 bits, said, like the callback to Hobbs saying on BTE that he used to do the Christian pose when he was a kid.
Yeah, now he's having a match with him. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Thank you,
East Palo Alto, Hobbs? East Palo Alto. I got a cousin that lives there.
Yeah.
That's about half an hour that way from where I am right now.
Other side
of
the bay.
Other side of the bay. East Palo Alto might as well be called the bay.
South Bay.
You go too far east in Palo Alto, you're in the water.
Oh.
We also had Pentagon. He came out with Alex Abrahantes, who they're going all in on this Penta Says gimmick. They got the shirts made and everything. Abrahantes is like his manager now, is coming out with him, posing with them and everything. Pentagon had a match with Trent from the Best Friends. Nice to see that for Trent and Chucky. We still have the bounce best friends. Still that no where is my mind for them?
Yeah.
With the classic theme.
Keeping it with
Trent
Cassidy and Statlander. I like that.
Yep. Abrahantes gets involved at the end. Of course, cost Trent the match. Orange Cassidy gets decked as well in the meantime. So this feud continues. They re-up this feud. This is ongoing. Best Friends and Death Triangle seem to be heading towards some sort of reckoning, which, you know what? As soon as Death Triangle's done with Bucks, which I believe they are at this point, I think they're done. We can get back to pure Death Triangle versus Best Friends. But you got to turn Death Triangle heel. Why aren't
Well, we've got
heel?
this weird thing happening where Pac and Phoenix are mostly working face, and then Penta's working heel, but they're all still in the same faction. What's that about?
It's odd, and Phoenix is just a born babyface, and Pac is the most heelish guy in AEW, and yet he's working face. It's weird.
And Penta's the one doing face stuff against the Best Friends.
No, Penta's being heel as hell.
Yeah.
He's cheating. He's being cocky.
I love watching that guy wrestle. And it's one of the shots
Pentagon,
that I called in very early days when Dynamite was first starting, that I felt like it was inevitable that Kenny would get the title and that Pentagon would be one of the future. We were fantasy booking or something. I don't remember what it was. What matches do we want to see in the future? And I said I want to see Kenny Omega Pentagon.
Well, which we saw at the very first All In. But the thing is that do you think that him getting Alex Abrahantes as a manager of sorts, as a valet, or whatever his role is, an interpreter, all these things, is that going to help Pentagon, or is that going to kind of make him feel a little goofy, or is it too gimmicky for him? Does it take away from any mystique he might have, or is that just not his game anymore?
I think it worked against Cody. It's unfortunate that that didn't get to continue because Cody got injured.
It worked here. It worked with Abrahantes running his mouth.
Trent,
Trent's outside. He's got Pentagon beat down on the ground. Abrahantes runs up with the microphone and goes, "Hey, Penta wanted me to relay a message to you. Penta says you're ugly, and Chucky T is ugly, and your mom sucks too." And Trent's like, "Oh, you son of a bitch!" And he grabs the chair, and that's the turning point of the match. So Abrahantes being kind of the heel, mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, running interference. I'm not mad at that, but it kind of pulls away from just maybe it's just a wrestling thing. I wanted Penta to be a certain thing, and that's just not what he is in AEW. And Abrahantes is kind of exemplary of that.
Yeah, no, I think it works for him. It certainly doesn't hurt. Yeah. Esme threw in 200 bits. Said Alex is living his best life. He just looks so damn happy.
Yeah, he tweeted out how it was like a big dream of his. Like, he's like, my dreams are coming true. I'm like, dude, you came out with Penta.
Yeah.
And you posed like you were the champion. Like, calm down, man. I'm so happy for him. I'm glad he's living his best life too. Like, but it is cute. He's like a kid coming out there with Pentagon. Oh, it was adorable.
Was that it? I think that's it. Oh no, we got to talk about Miro. That's the last one.
Miro says he said the same thing as last week. Can't find Kip Sabian. We know Kip's having a match next week. He's going to be ringside for Statlander versus Penelope Ford. So Kip will be in the house next week. We'll see what happens with him and Miro then. Miro says he doesn't care if Kip's on his side or not. He's going for gold. So keep your eyes open. Maybe he's the guy that takes the TNT Championship off of Darby. At some
you think
point,
Miro could?
Yeah, well, you want to strap that boy and make him a big deal really quickly. That's how you do it. Have him come in and squash the crap out of Darby.
I feel like this is how you should have brought him in. I feel like this is how. I don't know if bringing him in as the gamer streamer guy, the best man, all that stuff did him any favors. I feel like they might have,
maybe not, but maybe it's waiting. It's waiting for the right time, amping him up. He's got to buy the boys in the back some tickets to see Mortal Kombat. He's got to get in with the locker room first.
Sure.
Which he did, by the way. He did buy out a theater to show them all Mortal Kombat, which
fantastic.
Sweet.
It's really good too.
Sweet.
By the way.
Ah, son of a.
You're probably gonna hate it because everything I love you hate. So.
Speaking of which, Jade Cargill says she might get into a stable with Matt Hardy. He wants to sign her for a fee. Vicky Guerrero says, I'm building a stable of strong women. She'd fit right in. Jade Cargill says, no matter where I go, they better make me a good deal.
I love that she's taking the mercenary angle. Reminds me of Mercedes Martinez and the stuff she was doing with Robert Stone that we loved last summer.
Dude, her and Vicky and Nyla would be a sick stable.
Oh.
That would be a sick stable.
Oh.
So I like that idea. I like what they're doing with her. Overall, a very solid show of AEW, a very solid show of NXT, and I'm happy to say, Nick, a very solid show of SmackDown. And I know I'm supposed to hate everything that you like, but I think we're on the same page in that saying this was a pretty good week of wrestling.
Except for Raw.
Raw side.
Yeah,
Raw side.
Yeah. Tuesday and after, yes.
Tuesday on. It was great.
Within the confines of this show, yes.
Yeah. But that brings us to our final segment of the evening, and that, of course, is something that we like to call our moment of positivity. Mop. The mop, the moment of positivity. That's right. It's the time on the show where we think back over the last few days of wrestling and try to come up with something that made us happy, that makes us positive, makes us feel good inside, something that we can share with all of you and try to spread that positivity around so we all leave this show with smiles on our faces and happiness in our hearts. Nick, what was your moment of positivity for this week?
It would be easy to say that women's match on AEW, but I'm going to go a little bit more specific and say the moment of Britt Baker coming out and the way that it was delivered, and she pointed at the Tron and just said, and it showed Tay Conti moving down out of the number one contenders and Britt Baker being there now. That was my just
You're
the way that
was
delivered.
Solipsistic douche. Come on, man. Everything has to be Britt Baker with you.
Yes.
You can't enjoy the good women's match. It's got to be Britt Baker.
The
Britt
women's
Baker,
match
Britt
was
Baker.
5-star. It was fantastic.
But Britt Baker's your moment of positivity with it?
Well, moment. Hence the word moment. That was my moment of happiness.
Fair enough.
Yeah. How about you, Sir Dangerous? What was yours?
Aleister Black is back, baby.
Oh, yeah.
I was so worried about them bringing him back out and what they were going to do with him. I was so worried about if they were even going to bring him out. I either wanted them to just let him go, or I wanted them to bring him back with something good. So far, so good. That was such a cool, like something I've never seen before in main WWE. That little vignette, I love it. I think this gimmick is going to be perfect for him. I just hope that they pull it off well, but high hopes, and definitely was a major positive moment for me on that show when I've been stressing about my boy Aleister for a while now. Nice to see him back, seemingly on the right track. I think this will fit in very well with what he wants to portray, what he can portray.
Side question for you based on that real quick. I didn't get a chance to ask you earlier. Do you feel like that's going to clash with what Seth Rollins is doing in any way? Whole cult leader, messiah kind of vibe.
No, because I feel like Seth has moved on from the cult leader thing, right? He's now just cowardly douchebag number 300 on SmackDown. It's like him and Sami Zayn are two different versions of douchebag.
Okay.
But the same kind of douchebag, right? He's just a loudmouth douchebag. I'm Seth Rollins. Look at my drip. It's not a leader of men anymore. It's Seth Rollins on his own. And Aleister Black seems like he's not going to be a leader of men either. He's going to be just this kind of lone wolf psychopath, which I'm all about. If he is a cult leader, again, I'm going to be worried too much about kind of the whole Wyatt family thing coming back around.
Yeah.
Or this whole Seth thing coming back around. But, if they go on this path and he is kind of a lone wolf psychopath, I'm all in.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Love it.
I'm here. So in my own way, I'm a myopic, solipsistic douche as well because I'm focused on my Aleister Black. I want my Aleister Black to be good.
It's going to be good.
So there you
I
go.
have high hopes for it. Kyle Thrun 100 bits said, Trent to Pentagon's manager, little Giants kid voice. Don't you talk about my mama.
I know you didn't just say something about my mama.
Thank you,
Come over
Kyle. Esme threw in 200 bits, said Mop has to go to Mustache Mountain. They're back. Popped so hard I got a headache. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching NXT UK this tonight after the show. I'd heard they made a return. Thank you very much, Esme. Kyle threw in 100 bits, said my mop is the signing of Steph DeLander. She's been on my radar since 2019, and I'm really excited to see what she does in WWE with NXT, trying to get more bigger and stronger women like Rhea, Raquel, Frankie, etc. It's the best women's division, and variety and talent across both NXT brands is incredible. On a side note, Ivy Valkyrie versus Satomura next week on NXT UK.
Yeah.
Hype. Yeah. I'm behind on my NXT UK as usual. I gotta get caught up tonight.
Do you think Billie Kay got released because Steph DeLander looks a lot like her?
Yeah, she looks like a swole, jacked, evolved. She looks like an evolved. To make a Pokemon reference in my rare thing,
yeah.
She looks like an evolved Billie Kay.
Right. Next week on NXT, a wild Steph DeLander appears.
Yeah.
You try suplex. It's not very effective.
Yeah. Nice. Well, there you go, guys. AEW, NXT, and SmackDown in your ear holes. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll be back on Tuesday, breaking down Monday Night Raw. We're 3 weeks away from WrestleMania Backlash, as they're calling it this year. So mark your calendars. And also mark your calendars for May 21st, which will be our big party show. It will be the 4-year anniversary show. We'll be unveiling all kinds of new stuff, new graphics, new merch, new stream layouts, new everything, basically. We're doing an overhaul, and it's going to be all for you guys. Plus, we're going to be adding some stuff to the YouTube channel, so if you'd prefer to watch on YouTube, you absolutely can and still get all of the same perks and loyalty rewards and emojis and all kinds of stuff. All of that will be over there, so keep an eye out for all of that stuff as well. But big date, May 21st, Friday, May 21st, for the 4-year anniversary special. You don't want to miss it. Also, next Thursday, April 29th, we will be on the guest show of Going In Raw alongside Steven Larson to celebrate our victory at WrestleMania.
And Nick's gonna gloat. I'm just gonna sit there quietly.
I'm gonna confidently gloat and just sit there and 3 years in a row. What? No, it could be fun. So it's the first time we're doing that, so it could be a good time. Make sure you guys check that one out next Thursday. So be live for that one. Other than that, linktree.com/BWO is where you find all the links to all of our stuff. Make sure you head over there, like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us here on Twitch at twitch.tv/BustedWideOpen. Thank you, everybody, for all of the subs and bits tonight. Shout out to everybody over on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you guys for tuning in.
R.I.P. Shock G. R.I.P. Shock G. Rest in peace.
Oh, man.
Rest in peace, Humpty Hump.
Humpty Hump.
That hurt. That hurt.
Oh, goodness. So, big time innovator in hip hop.
What you like. Yeah. Tupac. Yeah.
Oh, man. Such an influence. You just dropped that one on me at the end of the show. Holy smokes.
Sorry, pal. Sorry, man. I was trying to slide it in before we headed out of here.
Hey, that's what she said. Whoa. All right.
Hello. And on that note.
On that bombshell, thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you guys on Tuesday. But until then, my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But by God!
Somebody stop the damn map!
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.